fill the void. An unfamiliar path with a pulse of its own.
3, 2, 1.
Final Encounter Cast. Interesting conflicts, not conflicts of interest.
Typical corporate bullshit.
With your hosts, Nate, Robbie, Chris, Nika, and Callie. FinalEncounterCast.com.
Ready? Get set? Go!
Oh! The Final Encounter Cast.
Oh, okay.
We are back once again. Glad to be with you and excited to be doing the show again. We are, of course, Final Encounter Cast, your brand new favorite gaming show. Thanks for joining me. My name's Nate, and I'd like to introduce my cohorts today. We've got Chris and Robbie. We're actually down 2 people today.
Yeah.
Kind of sad. A little bit sad
It's
about
all right,
that.
man. We are the dynamic trio.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to carry the show
we're
like
gonna
a
hold it down.
3-hump camel.
We're totally going to hold it down here at Final Encounter Cast. But I do want to send a shout out to Nika and Callie, who, of course, unfortunately couldn't join us today. But it's okay. We got this. We got this, guys. It's an important time in gaming.
Because Robbie finally has his own mic.
Your own camera. You always have your own microphone.
My own camera, right where I should be. I think I'm going to start kicking Kali out of this position and put him over in the corner for a while now.
Yeah, you think?
I think so.
You think that works pretty well for you?
I think it does. It works great.
I got to say, I think my mic sounds a little bit better without yours adding to all the noise over here in the corner.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. You have an extra open mic and sound tends to bounce around a little bit more. Although, I don't know. I gotta say the lighting over here in this corner is a little bit extreme. Let me see if I can help that out. That helps a little bit. All right. So thanks for joining us, man. It has been a while since it's been about a month, which is typical for us. We are a once a monthly video game talk show here on twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. We'd like to thank all 35,000 of you that checked out the David Hayter interview over at our website, FinalEncounterCast.com. That was fantastic. And of course, we want to thank David Hayter for his being so generous with his time. It was
he's
really
pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Kept us waiting.
He did keep us waiting. He did a little bit. He kept us waiting. What was that? 35 minutes?
45 minutes. Yeah, it was a long time. You were getting worried.
Yeah, no, I was legitimately concerned. I was like, oh no.
You lost your fan chub pretty quick.
Well, I was like, I didn't want to look stupid. I had gone to great lengths to set up that interview and
asking over Twitter.
Exactly, yeah. But anyway, thank you to David Hayter for appearing on episode number 4. And so in the last month, man, oh my God, there's been so much that's
Game-a-geddon.
Dude, there's so much. There's just so much shit to talk about. And we're going to get deep into Fallout 4.
We're going to get so deep. There's going to be sexual innuendos everywhere.
We're going to talk a lot about Nintendo Direct. And but first, Kali's not here. He's usually our gaming news person. He did do a lot of production. We did do a lot of the producing work to put this show together. So huge shout out to Callie. But let's go ahead and check out what's going on in the world of gaming news.
I'm here to do the news tonight.
And that's the way the news goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you important news.
Here's a story that's out of this world.
The longest news intro ever.
We need to think of something to do in between there because I just feel like a dolt over here.
I really want to have a nice animation to go along with that, but
that would help. Otherwise, I feel like I should be putting on a news cap, straightening my tie, and shuffling my papers.
Right? Yeah. All right. So over to Robbie at the news desk.
That's right. Robbie at the news desk today, filling in for Callie because he's at home resting after a long drive in the snow. So Steam sales this year will be abandoning the flash sale method wherein games would go on sale for short periods of time. This year, sales on games will run for the duration of the event, with the games being on the featured page for anywhere from 1 to 2 days. Steam Fall Sale will run from 1 p.m. Eastern on November 25th until 1 p.m. December 1st, and the Winter Sale will run from the 22nd of December to January 4th. Gotta say, that's some great news for me. Even better news for Chris over here, who's always late to the game, and I'm like, hey, great game on sale. Make sure you pick it up. You have like 6 hours left. Okay, man, I really wish I would have got this game.
Fail.
To be fair, I've only said that to one game, and that's XCOM.
The game like you want the most.
Yeah.
And that you play the shit out of when I'm not playing Steam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See?
I've played it more than he has.
Yeah, well, I think that's a big deal. Like Steam always has, they've had this very successful structure for their sales, and shaking it up. I'm curious to see how people like it and how they'll end up responding.
Well, I mean, they're on sale for longer, so as a consumer, it's win-win regardless. There's no downside to this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Afro Samurai 2, based off the popular anime, released to phenomenally awful reviews. They were so bad, in fact, the game was pulled and refunds have been issued to any who purchased the game.
Ooh, wow, that's bad. But I mean, who was really excited for Afro Samurai 2? Really?
I got nothing.
I'm sure they had to hire some voice guy who's doing his best impression of Sammy Jackson. That was the one that Sammy Jackson did a voice for, right? I think.
I don't know.
I feel like it makes sense. If you're going to have a character named Afro Samurai, you better get Samuel fucking Jackson to voice him.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think anyone is going to be too upset about Afro Samurai not performing up to par.
Well, no, they got the refunds back.
Yeah, that's good. At least there's that.
Sony has confirmed that the company is working on a method of emulating PlayStation 2 games on the PlayStation 4, and this will be a feature in the future. Disc-based emulation
Feature in the future?
Unconfirmed.
That's not a thing yet?
No.
Right? No, can't you buy like a lot of PS2 games like off the PS Network Marketplace anyway?
There's a bunch of PS2 games that have been getting HD reboots over the last couple of years, but I don't think. No, I don't think that's a thing.
Well, you can get all the Final Fantasies, right?
Yeah.
You can get the Suikoden games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Not all of them. I just Suikoden 1 and 2.
Okay, the important ones.
No, but I mean, I think that's, I don't know. I mean,
that is a big thing, but I also feel like it should have been here already. How is that not a thing?
Yeah, I mean, my computer can handle PS2 games. Why can't the PS4?
Yeah.
That always boggles my mind when I hear of like a new age or new gen system, and it's like, oh, you can't play Xbox games on the Xbox One. I'm like, why would they not include that?
Well, backwards compatibility. I mean, it's a way to. I don't really know. I've always thought that it would be a good idea to have new systems support old games. But
it's like a clinch pin to me.
You don't want to have like fucking 4 PS systems on your desk or on your fucking game system thing.
Right.
I mean, obviously, from like a business standpoint, you want people to have to keep buying stuff, I guess, but eventually you're going to drop support for those systems, and eventually those systems are going to crap out on people, but the games are still going to be in good condition. So just at the behest of keeping your customers happy, and I don't just mean on that whole the customer's always right bullshit. I mean just genuinely, like when the Xbox One and PS4 were first coming out, and Xbox One didn't have backwards compatibility, or when they announced that they were getting it, and people were like, I'm like, really? That's not something they already had?
Right.
That should have been packaged in the deal.
I agree. I mean, I think it's just a way to try to suck more money out of people. I mean, if everyone could play, all of their games on one system, then, I mean, I don't know. I don't see the negative. I don't see the downside to this. But I mean, like in the most, okay, for putting a PS2 disc in a PS4 and having it play, yeah, there's some technical limitations that have to be taken into consideration there, which I don't know what they are, but probably. But I truthfully don't understand why they don't make a larger part of their back catalog, their digital back catalog, available right off the rip.
Yeah, because I'd pay for the shit out of some Vandal Hearts.
Oh,
which apparently somebody has recently told me in a conversation that happened off air that Vandal Hearts isn't as good of a game as what I remembered it being.
It really isn't. I mean, it's still a good game, but it just doesn't have too much depth in terms of like changing your character classes and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at it through rose-colored glasses. Anyway, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, the next entry in the popular franchise, has been delayed until August 2016. No specifics were given on the reason, other than that the delay was for the fine-tuning and refinement rather than the major shifts. Also to be included in the collector's edition, the bonus alternate ending. That was a joke and a dig at you.
Fun. Yeah, good job.
Because in Metal Gear Solid 5, they cut out a whole chapter.
I get it. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know. I
played the last one. It was good, I guess.
How did you play all of it?
Yeah.
Really?
I played it through and beat. I actually played it 1.5 times because there was a really fucking stupid ass achievement that I was trying to get because this is back on the Xbox when I actually cared, called the Foxiest of Hounds. And like throughout the entire playthrough, you can't alert any guards or any alarms, but there's nothing really telling you.
Which is a Metal Gear reference, by the way.
and I get it now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
And there's no way to tell if you have or not because there's, in the terminology within the game system, the actual mechanics, like you can alert, a guard can be alerted, right? Like in an alert status,
right?
But can't actually see you or set off an alarm, or alarms can be like in alerted mode, but it was stupid. I never got it.
Yeah, well, of course not. No.
But yeah, no, good game otherwise. I liked it.
Did you play the first Deus Ex?
I did not. No.
There's the people who played it really revere the shit out of that game.
That was back during one of the earlier systems too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember what actual system it's for. I mean, like I watched.
What kind of gaming expert are you?
Well, no, I mean, there's like there's PC versions of it that you can get that have way better textures and have up the resolution of the game, but I when you still look at it, it's still so dated, so old, and I don't know. I'd really love to go back and play it, maybe with some of those mods. But yeah,
Chad
the people
is saying PS2 era.
The people who played that game sincerely love the shit out of it, and I'd love to be able to find out what they loved about it so much. So I don't know. The next Deus Ex doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah, well, Konami has also released a patch for Metal Gear Solid 5, including the ability to create a third FOB. What's a FOB?
Forward operating base.
Forward operating base. Updates on stealth infiltration and level 7 items, as well as an online development items, which heavily incentivize microtransactions.
Ooh, yay.
This has been met with mixed reviews from players. Well, of course it has.
Yeah,
it's microtransactions.
It's not great. That game has not been supported well, which is what happens when you fire the entire dev team.
Oh, the whole dev team. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Kojima's just on vacation, though, remember?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know that, yeah. Anyway, okay, yes. What else we got here?
This next one, Star Wars Battlefront. Now, this is going to be interesting because this is obviously a big, huge release that we should at least talk about a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did talk about it a little bit last time on the show.
Yep.
So, yeah.
None of us have actually had hands-on experience with it. So take this following little tidbit of news with a grain of salt. But we're going to break down just a few of the things that have been being said about it. And when I pulled up a search of it, the first thing that popped up right at the top, apparently EA is trying to pay off some celebs to say that they like the game.
Ooh, not good.
Well, now hold on.
Now, wait, what is the evidence that exists there? I mean,
well, because here's my thing. Like, where do we draw the line between like a celebrity, in your ad and like endorsing you that way to you, trying to buy their like what's the difference? Where do we draw the line? What's okay? What's not okay? If you get Captain Kirk on and he's all making Star Trek puns and stuff. I've realized they're different things. It's just the first person that popped in my head. Star Wars, Star Trek. Don't crucify me. And it's like, oh, buy it. Or no, fuck it. The way that World of Warcraft used to do it. Remember they had the Mr. T one.
Yes, I do.
Who else did they have? Mr. T is the only one that's coming to mind right now.
Yeah, Mr. T was the one that they pushed the hardest. But
yeah.
Vern Troyer, didn't they have one with Vern Troyer?
Was one.
Yeah.
So,
wasn't there some girl too?
I think there was, but I don't remember
Felicia
who it was.
Day? Felicia Day might have?
I don't know.
Anyway, point is, like, we look at that, not a big deal. We scoff at it. Okay, they're just running an ad, right? But if they go up to someone and they're like, hey, Chris Evans, here's $50,000. Could you say into the camera that you like playing Battlefront? That's not okay, right?
Well, I mean, how do you classify celebrity? Like,
I mean, it's the exact same thing, really.
Yeah,
but for some reason, that second one is that's not okay.
It is no. Well,
the first one is like they're making it tongue in cheek. I mean, it's like kind of like a parody. So, I mean, I feel like that's the difference versus them just trying to like be an honest opinion of the game. That's their opinion is being bought.
Yeah, so, that's the thing. Is this for a commercial? If it's for a commercial for Battlefront, that's like one thing. But if they're paying celebrities to go do interviews
or go on social media and be like, "Hey, this Battlefront game's really fun." I played
something
it.
like that. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more shady inherently. But the other thing is that like. Is this like big name Hollywood celebrities or people that are involved with the film? If it's people involved with the film, that's different. That's just doing marketing for Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. But are we talking about like Twitch celebrities?
Well,
because if that's the case, if it's like gaming media celebrities, that's a problem.
Well, here's the thing. I clicked on the link, right?
Yeah.
The more story.
Right.
And then it gave me an ad.
It took me to an ad, so I clicked on the wrong arrow. And I figured, I want to find out more about the game, not, about EA paying off celebrities. So there's that. About the game, though, I did pull up a review on Kotaku, and it was pretty massive, right? But I kind of scanned through and pulled out a few of the things.
Right.
And apparently what you're being led to see in trailers and in screenshots, basically it says the game is trying to pull off the fact that, you're going to be living or fighting and playing in a Star Wars movie in these big epic battles.
Sure.
But what ends up happening is oftentimes it's more kind of arcadey and comical than anything else. The reviewer talks about being in a battle and, a giant TIE fighter crashes in front of him, which should be something really, amazing and cool, but it's more kind of slapstick and funny. And then next thing you know, you have the skin bag Emperor Palpatine just like rolling over you, and he's so sprightly as he's dodging around and tackling people like M. Bison from Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure I just paraphrased that completely out of the thing. That's the kind of thing you're going to see in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the next line is, to me, it's kind of damning, but I think that they kind of meant it like, I don't know, as like praise in a way, or like, trying to characterize it, but they kind of said it was the Jar Jar Binks of Star Wars games.
Wow. I don't think that's definitely not a compliment.
Right?
Yeah.
So, whatever that means. Maybe I missed some type of, context in the review as I was skimming it, but yeah.
And a lot of people are complaining about this game. It's only got 9 multiplayer maps, 7 different battle types.
There's no campaign mode.
No single player campaign. But everyone knew this. We talked about that on the last episode a month ago.
There is some single player battles and survival mode, but it's not enough to hold it up as a single player only game. The review went on to say that if you do not plan on paying this with people or playing it with people, stay away from it.
Yeah.
And for $50-$60, $50 season pass, oof, man.
Yeah, it's a $90 price tag when all's said and done. That's insane.
For a game that's just Call of Duty in space. Although I will give it this.
Technically it's Battlefield in space, but yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, point is, I saw a video where like some Luke Skywalker force pushed a guy off a cliff and he got hit by a TIE fighter.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're into this kind of game, if you're into, the whole Star Wars thing and you like, the multiplayer that's repetitive and over and over and over, you're probably going to get a lot of fun out of this. I mean, the reviewer said that he was, laughing in tears a lot of the times by, a lot of the stuff that's happening on the battlefield. And so that's cool. But if you also get sick of repetition really, really quickly, you're probably going to get bored of it. And honestly, I think what it's going to come down to, because for me, when it comes to multiplayer things that are just the same every single time, I've never been able to stick with them long. Like Call of Duty, I'd always do the campaign. I'd always do it on Insanity mode. Then I'd play multiplayer for maybe 2 days, and then that's it. I'd be done with it. The only multiplayer that was different was the Mass Effect multiplayer in number 3, which I did not even expect there to be a fucking multiplayer, so I was expecting it to be absolutely horrible. But you play with 4 friends, and just the shit that goes down is funny, it's epic, it's memorable, and there's a lot of teamwork involved. And I guess if they can capture that same kind of essence in Battlefront, maybe the diehards and the people who are into it will stick with it long enough. But for someone who isn't into it, and they're just trying to sell a game to like the masses, the casual masses in general, I wouldn't pick it up.
I don't know. I think that this game would have benefited hugely from a single player campaign.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and you have all of the art assets put together. It's just a matter of putting some set pieces together and cutting some dialogue. And I don't think it would have been that much to put just a very basic first player campaign into it. And like it's not like Call of Duty's solo campaign is like that long. I mean, it's good.
No.
Don't get me wrong. Most of the Call of Duty campaigns are really good.
Voice acting's top notch.
And well presented. And they, like Treyarch has done a really, really good job. And, dude, I just put a little bit more effort. And the fact that people are buying it like crazy is just, it does not.
Well,
it's
I think that Force Awakens hype.
Well,
let's be honest. That's going to play a major factor in it.
You're right.
Huge.
You're right. No, you're right. But that's what EA is banking on.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, they feel like they don't have to develop as much of a product because they've got the movie hype to be able to push it even farther. And you know what? I really hope that people really don't buy into it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that it's a great game and people are it had a very great opening weekend. I don't know what its sales numbers are off the top of my head, but it had a great opening weekend. And I really hope that in the long term that it doesn't end up gaining a whole lot of steam or popularity. You know what I mean?
It really depends on the kind of support they give it.
Yeah.
And for $50 season pass, they fucking better give it something good.
But the expectations of gamers have been pushed so low at the same time. Like, is EA going to follow through? No. Are they really going to be held responsible for it? Probably not.
Nope. Now, I have a quick question that I don't know if the two of you will know the answer to it or not, or if chat will, but I remember back when Disney first bought out Lucasfilms, and I know that one of the things they did was they retconned all of the expanded canon from the books and the novels and stuff, and there was a Battlefront game that I think was in production back then that was actually canned, wasn't it? Was this that title?
Do not know.
I have no clue.
I have no
recollection.
idea.
All right,
no
well,
idea.
that's maybe a thing
that does not
to
sound
look
familiar
up,
to me at all.
I remember hearing something about that. But
Chat, let us know if you know anything about that. Let us know.
All right, so then the other big thing, maybe not big thing, interesting thing, because I mean I never would have saw this if Nate here didn't toss it onto the outline. But I guess there's a Forbes article. I guess I read it. There's a Forbes article about terrorists possibly using the PlayStation Network to organize terror attacks, and this came out of the wake of the Paris bombings. After I guess raiding a bunch of places, they found some PS4s, and I know it's exactly where it's going. That whole terrorists and they found these, so they must be using them. And the article actually didn't try to shift and put a whole bunch of blame on gamers at all. Basically, it kind of went through and detailed a lot of the benefits and security leaks around being able to do something, and basically it comes from the fact that because there isn't a lot of ways to track that kind of stuff, and because they're so low tech that it could be used, for people to communicate that way, hopping into games or doing their voice chat programs.
Jesus, anything could be used. Second Life could be used. I mean, for Christ's sake, man.
But then at the end, they do say that it's very possible that, the people who are, being suspected of this could have just been gaming with each other. No.
It's fucking ridiculous. That is the worst clickbait journalism that I can think of.
Ad.
Yeah, right. And the thing is that it comes from Forbes, which is really my mom sent me a link to that article, which is like that. I think that says a lot right there. You know what I mean? But like, seriously,
Nate, are there terrorists in your games?
Honestly, like I don't even understand what the argument is supposed to be. Like like the fact that it's just not monitored communication.
I think so, because there was also a sizable chunk of the article in there mentioning how the FBI or the CIA, one of the two, a while ago, petitioned for the rights or the authorization, whatever, to be able to find ways to be able to monitor that kind of shit. I mean, it was all during that whole thing when like the Kinect Eye in the eye for the PlayStation came out, and people were all like, "Oh, government's gonna watch."
Oh, it's gonna be permanent. Yeah, whatever. Oh my god.
No one wants to watch
Seriously,
you masturbate.
But the thing is that it comes from Forbes. That's the insane thing. Is that it's not coming from some fucking Alex Jones InfoWars weird ass corner of the web. It's coming from a major news outlet like Forbes. It's a million 1,000,000% speculation. There's no evidence that they were used. There's no evidence that if they had used them, that would have provided them secure communication. I mean, one of the articles went so far as to say that it was encrypted communication, which is not. No, insane.
What they specifically said was because it's so, I guess, low tech and hard to monitor, that it's safer than if they were to use encrypted cell phones.
Well, it's funny when you play the telephone game, because the link that my mom had sent me was to a local news outlet here in Detroit, who by the time the story had filtered down to them, they have no journalistic integrity and are fact checking literally nothing that they're putting up, and are going so far as to say that it's encrypted technology and that the messages that we send across PSN are fucking encrypted, which is absolutely insane.
That's the stupidest thing I've heard since Fox News tried to label Mass Effect 1 as an alien sex simulator.
Way to go, WXYZ. Nice job.
Hold on. That's not exactly false. Mass Effect 1 being an alien sex simulator.
I mean, it does play a key role in the story.
Look, just because it's the only reason that you started playing it, all right?
I mean, that's like trying to say that Persona isn't also a dating sim, that it's just an RPG. That is not correct.
But it's not a alien sex. There's one alien you can have sex with, and you don't even get to see it.
Well, seeing it is not the point. That's not the point.
That's what a simulation is.
Anyway.
Some other big news to come out of Nintendo is there was a headline, I think just last week or a few weeks ago, that they are planning, they have their whole big mobile gaming initiative that they've started pushing forward, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, all of those games, they're going to put out free to play.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
That's kind of huge.
Yeah.
Nintendo, give me free stuff.
That's kind of like that floored me, guys. Now, maybe I'm thinking too grandiose for this, okay? Because obviously we haven't seen a lot of mobile games developed by actual game developers.
Right.
I mean, we had a whole episode where we talked about what's the difference between mobile games and apps and blah, 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 blah. But I feel like with major gaming corporations like Nintendo, right, coming into this scene, that we should see some type of revolutionary shift in mobile gaming. I mean, is that a wild expectation of me?
Well, I think that we've seen great strides in mobile gaming coming from I don't know. I was fucking around with gaming apps back when before I had a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we've come pretty far from Snake. Let's be let's be honest here. So I think I think that the bigger companies stepping into the mobile arena, a lot of people are inherently skeptical of it, and I think this is Nintendo's way of trying to actually court hardcore gamers that are part of its normal audience to say, hey, try our games for free. It's like a bridge. Like, hey, try our mobile games and see what you like. And I think if they start gaining some traction and gaining some steam from Nintendo, we could start seeing Nintendo start going the route of microtrans and doing the more traditional ways that people are able to make money off their mobile products.
So here's what my concern is.
So it's like they're going like, hey, we'll give you everything that we've put out already, and then we're going to try. I think that it would provide a pretty good baseline of data to tell them, okay, this is the direction that we should take mobile gaming in the future.
I agree 100%. I mean, just in all the games that I've played, ones that have optional microtransactions are the ones that I've dropped more money on monthly than what I probably do sometimes for Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, take Record Keeper alone. Whenever they come out with a new event now, you can do a special draw for their relics for $1. Right. Never used to do relic draws that way before, but for $1, fuck it, we're doing it, right?
It's a McDouble, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I put more money in that I'm comfortable admitting even to myself, right? So I think that that's definitely the way to go. What I'm concerned about is do we want companies like Nintendo or Sony or Square Enix or whatever making their own versions of Flappy Bird or Temple Run? Because since these are actual game developers, I'm expecting more out of them.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we're going to get.
That's stupid. That's stupid. That's dumb, and I think it's lazy as well. If they're just getting in there to reap some of the profits that are already sitting there,
But I don't think that we're going to start. If these, it's like Square Enix. Square Enix has entered the mobile arena, and we've gotten great things like Record Keeper and some other original mobile games. Rings of Fate, I think, was the other one.
There's like Grandmasters of something.
Yeah,
the one that's still out in Japan right now. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And they've got the 11 mobile game coming as well. Right. So I mean, when you get bigger companies stepping into the arena, we're not seeing any evidence of them going after the Flappy Bird market.
Well, it's obviously,
not, they're not doing. I don't think they're doing the cash grab thing. Although, granted, Konami's still developing their business strategy. Yeah. So,
well, because I mean, even if it comes down to the complexity of games, I mean, Record Keeper has keeps me locked in a lot more than any other game on Facebook or in the mobile market did, because it has a lot more complexity to it, strategy to it, when it comes to the abilities and the equipment and stuff like that. So I feel like we need to see something with these, with them putting more money towards it than just what you get from like indie developers, that we should see a significant change or a significant shift in the way that mobile games are going. And microtransactions, absolutely. If they're putting them out for free, that's the only way that they're going to be able to make their money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm just having a hard time trying to conceptualize in my head what that shift is going to look like. I mean, for example, take the whole 3D market, right? There's very few people right now who are looking to utilize it. I mean, obviously the next gens are going to be all about the Morpheus and stuff like that.
Now with 3D, are you talking like 3D televisions that you put on the glasses?
Sorry,
VR.
VR. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Looking right now at the stuff that's coming out of VR, obviously it's exciting, right? But as soon as that stuff actually like hits market, right? 4 or 5 years afterwards, you're going to look back on the stuff they were developing at the beginning and be like, oh, what the fuck is that shit? You know what I mean? Once more people are into it, once more people are throwing money at it, it just explodes, right? And so now that these big companies like Nintendo and Sony, who have been doing this shit forever and have the tools and the money to do it bigger, better, and right, if there isn't some type of paradigm shift, what the fuck?
Well, then I think we're going to see a big fall off in mobile gaming. That's what I think. I mean, it's going to take the guys that do this professionally to step into the arena and say, okay, this is how it's going to be done. Now that's not to take anything away from indie games, indie developers, small DIY development projects. Those will always kind of have they will always have their market, they will always have their place, and they will serve to always be a counterbalance in terms of creativity to these large AAA titles and these large AAA development studios. But the way, it's hard to argue that these large game companies don't know how to make games. They do.
Oh, absolutely.
They absolutely do. And I think that that they can utilize, and finally the hardware is catching up. Like, that's really the big thing, is that hardware on tablets and on phones is catching up to the point where gaming can actually utilize the hardware that it's given. And it's going to take someone, and I think Nintendo is primed to make this move to create some kind of unified engine that can scale between different platforms. And we've seen that the Fox engine can do that. It can scale between 7th and 8th generation. If we can get an engine that is so flexible, and let's be honest, Nintendo doesn't need a whole lot of art assets to be able to make its point. Like, where everyone's been going photorealistic, Nintendo has been like, yeah, we've got our own design and we're going to try to go with that. So they don't actually need the same crazy hardware specs that other, AAA games might need. So if they can create a way to, much like the way Smash Brothers scaled between the 3DS and the Wii U, if they can do that where it's inherent between the handheld platform, the console, like the console experience on your TV, and a mobile, like a mobile game version of that too, man, I think that they have a real opportunity to capitalize on a huge market there.
You mentioning that whole Smash Brothers on the console and on the handheld, just hit me that was a precursor for the whole NX thing.
I think it is.
Oh my God, it's like I just found out Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense.
Like, yeah, like the 3DS version had some drawbacks. It didn't have as many features as the console version, but I mean, it was clear that they were using pretty close to the same game engine, and the mechanics are exactly the same. I mean, the mechanics on the 3DS are exactly the same as if you're playing them on the Wii U.
Have you guys heard anything of, in fact, a kid that I work with just spent his PlayStation 4 money on it, but apparently there is actually a VR peripheral for cell phones?
No, I didn't know. Oh, is it that thing that you can like put your cell phone in and into like it's like this goggle? Yeah.
Oh, it better not be. If he spent $300 on that, I will throw him under a bus.
I have no idea. Anyway,
I was gonna make a joke about how we're gonna have a Mushroom Kingdomville, and you can populate your little Mushroom Kingdom with toads and stuff. But I just realized that's literally Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
If they put Animal Crossing on phones, do you realize like how much money they're going to make?
Yeah, that's true. That is, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. All right, so that wraps up our news discussion here. So Kahlo, God damn it, Robbie, I'm the first one. I was the first one to do it today. Sorry.
Don't use my real name!
No, it's the other way around.
No, Kahlo is him now.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Robbie, you picked up Fallout 4, which it's what everyone is playing. Literally everyone on the planet is playing Fallout 4.
It's funny because I see a few people try and like break out some like Star Wars Legacy of the Void memes, and I'm just like, go away. Nobody wants to play your game.
Get the fuck out.
It's the same game we played last year and 3 years before that. Just stop.
So I mean, just like Metal Gear Solid 5, that was a huge release back when we were talking about it, and let's spend some time and unpack Fallout 4. What do you think, man?
Let me get something out of the way first, right? I really wish Callie was here so that I could abuse him in person for this, right? Okay. But for under his news section, like he tossed up some Fallout news, and apparently what he felt was like the pertinent Fallout information was the PC port, it says, is buggy and full of empty promises, bad even by Bethesda standards. I have yet to encounter a single fucking bug.
Really?
So I don't know where the hell that's coming from. Game crashes and shit. Physics tied to frame rate a la Skyrim. Screen resolution is supposed to be uncapped, but it's capped at 1920 by 1080. And then apparently he also makes fun of the graphics menu for Fallout 4 because it looks like something off of like Windows, what?
It does
95?
Yeah, it does not look great.
Who the fuck cares?
Well, I mean, it is literally like a Windows dialog box.
Who cares?
Well, there's a couple of valid things in there that, when you do have your physics tied to the frame rate, there was a lot of problems with that people had in Skyrim and having
there is
the proper
sometimes
hardware
when I go to switch weapons, my new weapon won't actually come up. I mean, it's there because I see the crosshairs, and if I press shoot, it'll shoot, but the actual graphics aren't there until I like scope in and out, then it's fixed. Obviously I've seen some stuff like, things clipping through planes. That happens, in tons of Bethesda games. I mean, big deal. I do know our friend Davey had a bit of problems trying to launch the game when it would keep crashing, but I think he sorted that out. Overall, I don't feel like I have heard many complaints about it being too buggy to the point where you would say bad even by Bethesda standards.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard those same complaints either. I have to wonder if it's a platform thing, if it's like a certain version of Windows or.
And I am on the Technonomicron.
Yeah, so. It might be certain graphics cards too as well. But if it's, if the resolution is supposed to be uncapped, then okay, that's kind of a legitimate gripe. If they had said that, into the lead up, then fine, whatever.
I'll give you that. I'll give them that one. All right, so
because you can't run it at 4K, like I guess that's pretty frustrating. So
well, all right, so let's get down to it then. All right. Obviously, Fallout is a beloved series. I hear that 2 is a game that can stand up on its own.
Now, how big of a fan of Fallout are you?
I played the motherfucking shit out of 3. I also got New Vegas, and I put a considerable amount of time into that to the point where I actually had a list that I had, written out from online of all the locations in the game, and I was such a fucking hoarder in that game. I'm going to go to every single location. I'm going to pick every motherfucking thing up. I'm going to put it in my safe. I'm going to start selling it to all the NPCs. I'm going to be a cat millionaire. It was bad.
Okay, all right. So you're way more familiar with the
recent incarnations.
Yeah, the Bethesda versions of the game. Yeah,
Yep.
The now Juxta, I've tried to get you to play the old Interplay version.
They were really bad.
No, I think they were really hard, and you gave up.
No. I was watching him.
For starters, it looks like just soupy garbage. Shit.
It's old. It's old. It's an old game.
The controls did seem to be very, very nuanced and annoying. And even when he figured out how to do stuff, it was still difficult and annoying just to try and keep that control scheme, I guess, straight in. It didn't look like fun. Watching him play it, it didn't even visually look like something that I wanted to play.
Well, I played at least a little bit of 2, and I have heard that 2 is a fantastic game. I've never played 1. I can't speak to 1. I don't know what 1 is.
I played all of under 5 minutes of 1, 2, and Tactics because I bought them on a Steam sale and I returned them.
Should have got 3 instead.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
But I had fun with 2.
Mm-hmm.
I played like, I don't know, maybe 10 hours of 2, and I mean it's got this top-down isometric thing that I'm not a huge fan of. But Juxta, you're a huge fan of those types of games.
Some games, yeah, but
when they're good, and when they don't it felt really squished and smashed down.
Were you running the game at the right resolution? Because I mean, it was built for non-16:9 monitors.
Yeah, well, I don't know, the highest resolution.
No, you need to put it at the proper that may have been part of your problem. That you were not.
Everything was really tiny too. I couldn't see anything.
I mean, it's made for a traditional CRT monitor, so yeah, I don't think you were. You may not have had the graphics setting right. Which, I mean, that's your fault for not even bothering to figure out that the graphics weren't set right. So I gotta hold you.
It doesn't matter if you're close or far away. It still looked really, really bad. And I'm not the worst when it comes to graphics. I can
this is the dude that was playing the original XCOM
in a awful resolution.
That's what I'm saying. Is that
original XCOM looked good though? I could tell what objects were supposed to be. This, it's just everything was brown and gray, and I'm like.
Because you were you never made it out of the vault. Is the problem?
Yeah, when you make it out of the vault, then there's some orange and maybe a little bit of amber.
Ooh. Well, it would, if you had gotten into the overworld map, that may have been a little bit more justifiable. Mm-hmm. Nice job.
So anyway, Fallout 4. Obviously a great game. Okay. I guess I feel the way that it is when you look at Fallout 3. Phenomenal game, right? Gem in the rough there. And what they did with New Vegas is they just kind of improved upon a few things, but honestly, it was pretty much the same game, just with not as cool of a story, right? So basically, when it comes to Fallout 4, they took that gem, they polished it up a little bit better. They got it a nice little base, they set it in the ring, and then they offered it up to you. Here, marry me, spend the rest of your life with me, and that's what a lot of people are going to do. So there are a lot of things that they added, that they kind of changed up, put new spins on, and so I just sat down and made a list to everything that we're gonna kind of go through and break down. The first thing that I noticed was how fucking big this place is, and I don't just mean they increased the size, because looking at the map on the Pip-Boy, it doesn't seem as big as the Capital Wastelands did, all right? But the biggest change is, if you've played 3, I assume, right?
Yeah, I played
enough of it. Okay, so when you actually made it to the ruins of DC, you couldn't really explore everything,
right?
Because the wreckage and the debris kind of set it up to be
some paths
it was a maze.
Some paths were blocked off.
Exactly. I mean, you were exploring, but you were pretty much directed in specific areas,
right?
In specific
Still
ways.
A corridor.
Yeah. So in this, when you make it to the cities and stuff like that, they're just fucking flat out cities. You can really go everywhere. And the way that I play these style games is whenever I discover a new location, I have to fucking explore all of it before I can move on. That's why it took me so long to actually get into the story.
Right.
I've still kind of only, barely gotten my hand in there. So I'm going around exploring, and it's I just get to the second little town of Lexington, and this place just seems fucking massive. And just going through one area, I have to go back to my town 2 times to unload all of my junk. And that's the other thing that's worse about it. I was a hoarder in the last 2 games, right? But there's stuff that is inherently worth money that you obviously want to keep, and then there's shit that is just there for, I don't know, immersion's sake, right?
Okay.
But in in this game, everything is worth something. They expanded the crafting system. It's fucking dope now. I've never used that word to describe something before, but it seemed right. Okay?
So this game, previous games were set in Washington D.C. and
the Capital Wasteland, Washington D.C. Yep,
right.
And then
New Vegas, which was
in the NCR, North Carolina Republic, or something like that. And as far as the timeline goes, Fallout 3, New Vegas takes place 6 years later, and then I believe that Fallout 4 takes place 10 years later. So this is 16 years after the events of Fallout 3.
Okay. I for some reason, I thought it happened before Fallout 3.
It does not.
No?
It starts out before. It actually starts out before the war.
Okay.
And it explains.
And
that,
it explains that, yeah.
That, you know, there was a whole nuke situation in Japan, and basically what they go on to say is sort of create an alternate reality or an alternate timeline that, you know, that made peace, and everyone's like, hey, let's not fight anymore. Let's do, you know, nuclear fission and power to create a utopia. Yay, utopia. Everybody's happy. Oh shit, where'd all of our natural resources go? Let's fucking kill each other. Nuclear war.
So
that
life
escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Life, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much. So yes, and I don't want to go in and spoil, you know, any of what actually happens in the game or anything like that. But the crafting system in 3 and in New Vegas was basically you would find recipes, and the recipes would tell you, hey, you want to make this fucking flaming chainsaw sword? Find these pieces of junk. Oh, you got them? All right, here's your chainsaw sword. Okay? In this, everything is a resource. Everything from a fucking pencil to an alarm clock to a board game to the gun in your hands to the armor on you to the fucking tires sitting over there in a pile of, you know, shattered cement.
What about your dog?
If you kill dogs, like the other dogs, you can take and cook their meat.
What about your dog?
No, dog meat is immortal. Dog meat is immortal. And everything can be broken down into base compounds, which is then used to create modifications for your gun, which is just insane levels of customization, allowing you to, you know, make it so that it hits hard but slow, or, you know, you can fucking turn anything into a sniper rifle at this point because, you know, you can put awesome scopes on it. You can make it so it shoots fast but hits light, you know, has extended magazine size. Like, there's just so many customization options. It's freaking insane. And the same goes for your armor as well. You know, you can make it so that it's deep pocketed so you can carry more stuff. You can make it so that you can sneak better, so that you take less damage from explosions, so that your limbs take less damage. Like, the level of customization is just fucking insane.
Wow.
It's the first thing that I noticed, and it's a lot of fun.
Now, did you play Skyrim?
I did, yes. I play Skyrim.
Okay, so now, what kind of lessons do you think Bethesda took from Skyrim and were able to implement into Fallout 4 successfully? Because, I mean, you know, in terms of Fallout and Oblivion, I'm sorry, and the Elder Scrolls series, they take a lot of concepts and borrow from one another.
Right, because Skyrim came after Fallout 3, didn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
And I believe after New Vegas, too. Like, I'm pretty sure Skyrim was after New Vegas.
I haven't, or when I played Skyrim, I myself didn't do a lot of crafting, so I can't really compare that too much. But obviously, the crafting in Skyrim was, I think, more involved than what it was in Fallout 3. But I still think it came down to the idea of, all right, you know, I'm going to put points into blacksmith, right? So I learned like advanced blacksmithing.
Yeah.
Here's your list of stuff. Here's the materials you need. Whereas Fallout 4 has more of a eye towards customization than just straight up building it.
Okay,
right?
Gotcha.
Now, it's not just weapons that you get to build either. I've made lots of jokes over the past week about how this is Fallout 4 The Sims, because you get control of a settlement. You know, one of the first missions you do is help out some survivors escape.
Oh, you get a base to manage.
You get a base, but it's not that simple. It's not literally just a base. It's like an entire like cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And you get to make an entire little civilization, everywhere from shops to supply lines to other places that then, you know, bring in more settlers, and you have to make sure that they have, you know, foods so they don't die, water so they don't die, water purifiers so they don't die.
I feel like
defense system so fucking super mutants don't come in and kill them.
Yeah, I just feel like we've seen a lot of these, whether it's been Assassin's Creed or whether it's been Metal Gear.
But it's not,
you know.
it's not a staple part of the game.
So how is it different from any of those?
Well, I haven't played any of those, so I can't tell you that.
Okay.
But it's not essential to the game itself. It's kind of just a little addition to the side. It's something else to keep you busy or to keep you preoccupied that adds more to it without feeling like it's taken away from something else in the game. It literally feels like they're like, look, this is Fallout 4. This is what you wanted. There's all kinds of cool stuff in it, all kinds of updates. The story's cool. Everything's mega and big and fucking scary. And on top of that, we're also going to give you this at no additional, cost to any of the other shit in the game.
Yeah,
It does feel nice and polished. When I first made a joke because that first night I probably spent 3 hours just running around cleaning up all the junk in my fucking neighborhood to get supplies and shit.
Right.
But no, it's a lot of fun, and I've barely even gotten to that. I haven't opened up. Well, I've opened up 2 other places that I can turn into little establishments, but I haven't yet. But once you set up supply lines between your shops, you can get caps that way. You can also, I found out, apparently recruit actual NPCs, not just the settlers that come to your settlements, but you can actually get actual named NPCs within the game to settle in your little areas, in your little civilizations, and become permanent shop owners there, so that they're always there when you need them. And there's also a chance that they could then have legendary weapons on them. Legendary weapons, that's something else that's new. There are now legendary monsters in the game, which is basically just variants of the ones you're going to find anyway. Ghoul roamers, death claws, Mr. Gutsies, blah, 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 whatever, that will have stars next to their name, and they will say, legendary Mr. Gutsy, that are harder to kill, but will always drop legendary loot, which usually has some type of special trait to it. Like I found a pipe pistol that has a 20% chance to cripple whatever it hits. But it's kind of weak where I'm at now, so fuck it, I gave it to my companion, and now when I came across this giant-ass super mutant that was wearing a swan boat inside a lake, she starts, blasting off, and it only has melee weapons, and it falls crippled in the middle of the pond, and I'm just like, fuck you, motherfucker. And won.
So in Fallout 3 there was that what was that VATS mode?
Yes, vault assisted targeting system.
Does that make a return in 4?
Yes, it does, and they have changed that a little bit too, which I can't really complain about it too much. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, when you use VATS, when you went into VATS mode, everything froze. Right. So you can take your time. It's kind of like a pause, but you can take your time and pick your targets, blah, 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 and stuff like that. In Fallout 4, it just slows it down, but things are still moving.
It's sort of like reflex mode for MGS, so yeah.
I guess. I don't know what that is. But yeah, sure, like that. Now, at first, and I haven't actually confirmed this yet, but I've been told that the higher your agility is, which affects VATS and how many action points you get in VATS, that time will continue to slow down. I don't know if that's true, or if it is, if you can get to a point where it stops completely. But when I first started playing, and I would run into ghouls, which is one of the first monsters that you fight, they were fucking fast. Like, even in VATS, by the time I could decide, where I wanted to shoot and hit accept, they were already on top of me, and it was fucking impossible.
Yeah.
So I've actually been playing most of the game just shooting in third person regularly.
Interesting.
Which is fine and a lot of fun, and I actually prefer to do that. That was next to impossible to do in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, I feel, because accuracy just played such a big role. It wasn't just about how skilled are you at shooting. Your fucking crosshairs could be centered right on somebody, and you'd see a bullet fucking fly off that way, because your accuracy wasn't high enough. A lot easier to do in this, I feel, but I also feel like that whole VATS thing, moving, like, it's something you could complain about because it makes the game a little bit more difficult, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. So, when you played 3, did you play it with VATS, like heavily with VATS?
Yeah, you use VATS all the time.
Okay, so that's an interesting change.
You're kind of at a disadvantage if you don't, because like I said, VATS stops everything, and basically you get to time your shots and your attacks, down to, a percentile, basically.
Do you feel like Bethesda built a bit more of a tight shooter with this?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair then.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
I do feel like that was definitely a thing. The other big thing too is I feel like everything in this game is a lot more scary.
Really?
The very, very first enemy I fought, besides rad roaches, were mole rats. And if you remember mole rats from 3, they're just basically, they look like giant skinless dogs, kind of, with mole teeth.
Yeah.
These ones popped out of the ground when I first got out of the vault, and they no longer just run at you. They burrow underground and pop up underneath you. But these things look fucking terrifying. They are ferocious little motherfuckers. And even ghouls, which basically all use the exact same model in 3 in New Vegas, except maybe having like, I don't know, clothes on or something, if they were glowing ones. They weren't really all that, impressive either. Some of them were kind of a little bit fast, but for the most part, if you found ghouls, not a big deal. In this, they are fast. They move in fucking packs, and they're scary as shit. One of the things that is cool about them, though, is they are super, super fast, but they're also very, very clumsy, and they're very inaccurate. So there's a lot of times where, like, I'd turn around, here's one coming at me, and I barely have enough time to pull my gun up and take a shot, and it's actually more beneficial to just, like, step to the side and let it stumble by you or trip before it gets to you, and it gives it another like level of dynamic. Like I actually feel like certain mobs actually have strategies to dealing with them. So that was really cool.
Now what about power armor? Because I feel like it did not play as much of a role in 3 as it's being played, and as what you would think, because whenever you see Fallout, ads or movies or even the game cover, it's always about like that power armor. Yeah,
right?
It's always right there in the branding.
Exactly. Yeah. In 3, you had to actually get a perk that taught you how to use power armor, and you didn't get it until way, way later in the game.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the most part, I didn't really use it because I felt like it was cumbersome. I'm pretty sure that its weight, counted towards what you were carrying, or
so
whatever.
You became over encumbered really easily. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wasn't a big fan of using it because I think you also walked around really, really slow. Just, whatever. In this game, power armor is more of like an Iron Man suit. You get it really early on in the game. You do have a resource that you have to collect in order to use it. It's a fusion core that as you're using it, it depletes. As you go on further in the game, you come across some like candy. That's not really a big deal.
Right.
But just like your armor and all of your weapons have custom mods, you can also mod your power armor so that the legs, the arms, the body, the head all have different little attributes that you can do. Like you can put like a headlamp on the head. You can put I think the things that I have in my legs make it so that I can carry more because I'm a fucking hoarder. You can get on the body blood thinner or something that makes it so you're less likely to be addicted to chems. There's just a whole level of customization again. You can also put your settlers in power armor so that they can help defend the settlement in fucking power armor.
In 3, wasn't it just like it was
armor?
It was just normal armor.
Yeah, it was just normal armor.
And you had to
heavy armor,
you had to do quests through like the Brotherhood
of Steel.
The Brotherhood.
I'm sure
of
there's
Steel,
probably another way too, but yeah, it was basically just armor. And in this, the power armor is its own. It has its own whole system.
That's cool.
Going on with it, and yeah, it is. It's really, really cool. You can jump off of any buildings and not take fall damage. That's really awesome. And you can get multiple suits of power armor, so that you can customize them differently, paint them differently, and as you're taking damage in your power armor, also changes your like HUD and stuff too, so that's really cool. But as you take damage, like if let's say you take enough damage in your arm to where the durability of the power armor falls to 0, it's no longer equipped to you anymore. It just falls back into your inventory.
Interesting.
Yeah, so power armor is very, very cool in the game. I don't use it a whole lot unless I know I'm going into heavy enemy territory or I know I have a lot of stuff to bring back. But yes, power armor is definitely immensely improved on within this game and very, very, very fun.
So now, what other kind of change-ups have they introduced?
Pip-Boy is way more comprehensive.
Is that right?
Yes. There are tons of options in it. They have your inventory broke down into all kinds of different categories, from weapons to apparel to aid to junk, which is where a lot of the stuff that you break down for your components and ingredients for crafting goes to, and miscellaneous and mods. And here's a little tip for everyone, which I just found out the other day, and it's going to make running back and forth a lot easier. But when I have everything taken on my inventory and I just have what I thought was the essentials, I'm sitting at like a weight of like 110 and my maximum carry right now is 310. That seemed like a lot, but I'm like, it must be all these mods that I have in here, blah, 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 blah. Well, I found out that the mods on your guns are actually on your guns. They don't come as being in your inventory.
Oh, wow.
So all those mods that are in my inventory were either from mods that I changed or that were off of other guns, so I can actually take all of that shit out and probably be down to like 50 or 60.
And then you can bring back more teddy bears.
And now I can bring back more shit. No, I don't even collect all right, in Fallout 3, when you got your Megaton house, there was this room, right? There's really nothing in there.
Yeah.
So every time I play Fallout 3, I pick some weird item that I fill that room up with. I did road cones once, I did garden gnomes once, and my most recent playthrough, I did teddy bears. Well, I don't do that during this playthrough because everything can be turned into something.
Well, there you go. I mean,
otherwise it would be Bojangles the space monkey.
What is that?
He's a fucking giant stuffed monkey toy in a spacesuit.
Okay.
It's terrifying.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. The Pip-Boy app is apparently really, really awesome.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually use it that much. Like, basically everything you can do on your Pip-Boy app, you can just do on your Pip-Boy. And it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I'm in combat, so I can't go into my Pip-Boy. Let me go over and do it on... No, because you're fucking doing combat. So if you're going to do anything on your Pip-Boy, you might as well just...
It actually,
go into Pip-Boy.
The Metal Gear Solid 5 app was actually really useful because when you would go into the menu to use it, it wouldn't stop time. So, if you were in like kind of a hairy situation, it was nice. First of all, it was nice because it provided like a mini map that the game doesn't provide you with, which I'm glad that the game didn't provide you with, because most open world games do give you a mini map, and in a game like that, I think it would have been really, really terrible. But so you do have a way to have a mini map, and you can interact with it and do stuff like call choppers and stuff that would take time in the game. And I was playing on PlayStation 3, so it took a really long time to load that fucking pause menu. And so it actually became a much more efficient way to deal with it. But I've seen the people who take
the Pip-Boy edition,
and then they put the app.
The best thing I've heard the Pip-Boy
cool, I gotta say.
used for, and if anyone hears this and then goes and does this to their friends, I'm so sorry. And when you find out that they've done it to you, you should murder them. But if you take the app and you sync up with their game, like on your app, or you take their phone and it's synced up with them, and you go into another room, but you're close enough to where it can read it, you can actually start unequipping them and like messing around with their inventory and like their weapons and their favorites and stuff as they're playing.
Nice.
We have a friend who I guess her friends did it to her when she was playing, and for like 3 hours she just thought it was some glitch where like her clothes just kept falling off and like dropping out of her inventory.
Oh God!
Like, you dicks.
That's funny. That's really fun. That is pretty hilarious. I gotta say. So visually, what do you think? I mean,
it looks great. I mean, like I said, everything looks terrifying. Graphically, it's amazing. Nothing looks awkward anymore, or like it's cartoony. A lot of the character models are just like phenomenal and top notch. The only thing is some of the armor designs, at least where I'm at right now, like with the Raider leathers or the metal stuff or the synthetic stuff that I just started getting, looks like it was designed by like the Final Fantasy XI development team. Like some of the stuff, you're just like, why would you wear that? Like the synthetic chest piece is just like, it looks like a giant plastic like collar, and that's it. That's all. Like it's like they didn't design these with the idea that people want to look cool, So, all right, sure.
I don't know. In terms of, with Fallout 3, there were a lot of really memorable moments from that game, from the two superheroes that were battling it out in that one town to the Gary Vault, or there's just a lot of like weird idiosyncratic stuff that existed in Fallout 3 that was just, or the one where you get put to sleep and you go back
into the VR thing or whatever.
You get put into you get plugged into the Matrix for a minute. Is there anything like that so far? I mean, you've plugged some hours into Fallout 4.
I have plugged quite a few hours, and like I said, I've barely really scratched the surface, I feel, of the main storyline, but of very many of them. I mean, I have put a lot of hours into it. I wouldn't really say that there have been any particular moments or quests, without spoiling anything, that's been particularly memorable. However, for me, when it comes to games like this, games like Mass Effect, any kind of game that has role-playing aspects in it, for me, one of the biggest things is character interaction, right?
Yeah.
Being able to make me really feel for characters is definitely one of the quickest ways to get me to love your game. And this does a really, really good job of it. The companion system in it is phenomenal, which I'll get to in a sec. But yeah, the characters coupled with the voice acting, it's a lot of fun. You actually feel like you're bonding with these people, because as you're going through too, they're constantly making comments. They're commenting not just on your surroundings, but also on what you're doing. Like specifically, when you're having cutscenes, they're actually involved in the cutscenes as well. There's something like, I think I read that there is 111,000 lines of dialogue in this game, which I don't want to... It's definitely more than Fallout 3 and New Vegas combined, but I want to say that it might have even been double or triple of what was in there. So there's a ton of lines, and that's really, really cool. the companion system, you start out, you automatically get dog meat. Okay.
Yeah.
Which it's really cool because one of the characters, one of the survivors that you find that you're saving from raiders, makes some allusions to this. Like I think Bethesda wants you to know this is the same dog meat. Which, considering that you went from the wastelands of the capital of Washington D.C. to Massachusetts, and it's 16 years later.
Yeah.
Something's up with that dog. He's been eating Miracle Growth or something.
Yeah.
But
it is an irradiated wasteland.
It is. But he's really cool because you can send him to get treasure. You can send him to track enemies, to find enemies. At the very start of the game, there's a gun in the vault called the Cryolator, which has a master lock, which means you can't get it until at least level 18, unless you have dog meat. If you go back down there with dog meat and you go up to it and you're like, "Hey boy, fetch me treasure," he goes up and he pulls the gun out of the wall and he hands it to you.
Interesting.
Yep, and that's being said to be one of the most powerful weapons in the game right now.
Huh.
So,
wow.
So there's a little trick for you. I think the first major patch is coming soon, so you might want to go grab that before it's patched, because I bet it will be.
Yeah.
But
how did they not catch that?
I have no idea. Yeah. But the companion system. So far I've gotten four companions. There's a fifth one that I know of. Dogmeat's obviously your first one. The one that I've been running around with is Piper, who is an investigative journalist from Diamond City, which is the main city in the Commonwealth, as it's referred to. And yeah, she's really cool. First of all of your companions have likes and dislikes. Stealing from innocent people, Piper's not really into that. Stealing from raiders and bad guys, she likes that stuff. So whenever I pick locks, you really know your way around a bobby pin, or remind me to keep an eye on you next time you come to my place. Just things like that.
Right.
And they actually have character backstories. Like once you get to certain levels of trust, they'll start confiding in you about stuff. And again, voice acting, fucking amazing. Like this is a really good game.
Nice.
Okay, really well performed. And the Soul Survivor, which is what your character is referred to, is voiced in this game as well. Which is actually really cool. Usually in games like this, I would prefer them to stay quiet. You get to, your own sense of the character, but it still keeps you in there really well, and it's really great. One of the downsides, not downsides, one of the little nitpicks that I had at first is the way dialogue options are set up. Very, very minimal. I thought that in Fallout 3 and in New Vegas, it was kind of, I guess, a little clunky and ugly, but I feel like they really just chopped it down to like bare bones in this. And one of the things that I did like about Fallout 3, though, is when you're looking at your options, it gives you a good sum up of what you're going to say, whereas in this, it's usually just a matter of like yes, no, sarcastic, and like cancel out or something like that. So you don't really know exactly what you're going to say. And I guess it's a little bit more effective because it helps you get to the point a lot quicker, but I think that I would have preferred something more akin to Mass Effect that had like the wheel, and it offered more options. This is basically just 4 options every single time.
Okay.
But still, it's really good. The other massive change, which actually, had I known about this, my character would be completely different. But in Fallout 3 and in New Vegas, your intelligence determines the number of skill points that you get to put into all of your various skills to determine how good you are at things, right?
Okay, yeah.
They've completely abandoned skill points now. It is all a perk-based system. So whenever you level, you get to pick a perk. What perks you can pick are based on at what level your stats are. If you have a 3 strength, you can't get any perks above strength. But instead of picking a perk, you can choose to just increase your strength by 1, right?
Okay, right.
Now, at first, I'm like, oh, shit, now I have to plan out my fucking character, blah, 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 blah. There's no level cap in this game. Well, there's a theoretical level cap, which is something like 67,273. So after the game ends, it's open world, which Fallout 3 was not.
Right, yeah,
And
I remember that. I remember the...
Yeah.
People fucking hated that.
So you can just level and level and level and level and level theoretically until you have all of the perks and maximum stats. It's probably going to take a fucking long-ass time, but that's a thing that you can do. Skill books, which used to give you skill points in the previous one, are now just perks, basically. If you get the Grognak books, the Grognak the Barbarian, it makes it so that your melee critical damage goes up by 5%, and there's like 6 or 7 you can get, and they each add another tier to it. So that's really cool. Man, my voice is going.
Now, what about chems?
Oh, I used chems like a fucking fiend in Fallout 3. Mentat specifically, which increase your perception and your intelligence.
What's a chem?
Chemicals. They're like items, meds and stuff like that.
Do they permanently increase your stats?
No, temporarily.
Okay.
Yep. So I would use Mentats so that you can break into terminals or break into locks that you don't quite have the skill for. Because if they increased a main stat like perception or intelligence, it would then also affect the associated skills such as lockpicking, science, etc., etc., etc. The only one that I really use in this is Buff Out, which increases your strength and endurance. And the only reason that I use it is so when I'm over encumbered, I can pop that and then fast travel back home and make less trips. Everything else, I pretty much just sell. Obviously, I keep stim packs. I keep a little bit of Radaway, sometimes Rad-X, and there's one, I think it's Psycho, that gives you damage up and damage mitigation. But
Gotcha.
Everything else I sell, which caps are extremely hard to come by. I manage to have 10,000 caps right now because I'm really good at entrepreneurial stuff in video games, not so great in real life. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people having trouble gathering caps and being able to buy stuff. Stim packs are so fucking steep. Like it's 100 caps for one stim pack, right?
Wow.
I have 40 or 50 stim packs on me. And the other thing is, everywhere I read, they're like, ammo, conserve your ammo, conserve your ammo. It's going to be hard to keep up ammo. You're going to think, oh, I have a lot of it, but then something's going to come out of nowhere, and you're going to be like, where'd all my fucking ammo go? No, I have a shit ton of ammo. I'm good.
Oh, well, I think that's what the game is warning you. You think you're good right now.
No, I have so much. Oh, and I got a legendary that has exploding bullets.
Overall.
I don't think he likes it.
No, I don't think so.
Obviously, it's a great game. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. I think the one thing, I don't want to say I'm disappointed in it because I'm not really sure what I expected. But, I said it earlier in the game. This isn't, or early in the game, earlier in the show that it's nothing new. It's a great game, massive improvement on an already stellar piece of entertainment. But there's nothing new and there's nothing groundbreaking about it. It was a tried and true formula that they decided to stick to and just make better.
Right.
There's nothing revolutionary about the game.
All right. Well, there you go. There's a deep dive into Fallout 4. I don't even know if I'm going to end up picking this up, man, to be honest with you.
Really? How come?
I just don't... I don't really have the time to devote to it.
That I can understand.
It seems like a huge time sink, and I just did it with MGS5. If maybe I had more time, I might.
Well, and here's the other thing, because for me, the other thing that really makes a game and makes you want to play it is the story. Obviously, which I can't speak a lot on because I haven't dove into it very far. But just taking into consideration the quality of voice acting and the level of writing and characterization that's just gone into the companions, I'm really excited about it because I think it has the makings to be very, very poignant and very, very touching. And I've also been led to believe that there are tons and tons and tons of endings and stuff like that. So as far as story goes, it has very, very, very high playability.
Interesting.
But yeah, I've barely begun to dive into it. So I do absolutely recommend picking it up. And it will consume a lot of your life.
Interesting. And if you want to watch Robbie play Mass Effect, God damn it. If you want to watch Robbie play Fallout 4 on stream, he will be doing so all throughout the week here at twitch.tv/FinalEncounterCast. So whenever he's got some free time, I'm sure he's going to pop on the stream. And I'm
going to try, depending on what time we get out of here and we get home, I'm going to try and pop on tonight and play a little bit.
There we go. All right. So yeah, that definitely awesome. I mean, you make it sound pretty good. It's just I don't know if it does. Like Like it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot there that's changed from Fallout 3, and I was kind of done with Fallout after I played Fallout 3. I never went back for any of the DLC. I never went back for New Vegas, and it just seems like I don't know if I really want to.
I get that because I actually played, because I started to get really hyped as it got closer to the launch, and I wanted to try and get Chris hyped for it too, so that he would hopefully play it, so that we could exchange stories and stuff like that. So I actually played Fallout 3 for a week and a half leading up to Fallout 4.
Right.
And I guess I never really took the time to take this into consideration, but I know exactly what you mean, because I get burnt out on Fallout 3 very, very quickly because, again, I hoard stuff and I try to get as many caps as I can, but in that game, there's not really a reason to. Like, once you have, like, a nice supply of, like, stim packs and meds and stuff, and you have your caps, you don't really spend them on anything, because everything that you need, you end up getting out of just the wastelands anyway,
sure. Yeah.
right? Like right. Ammo and stuff like that, and especially when it comes down to weapons, there's no gear lust. Fallout 4 has that.
Oh, okay.
Especially
because of the legendary stuff.
Because of the legendary stuff.
Yeah,
yes, I creamed my fucking pants when I saw that spray and pay in the vendor thing, and just blew all my caps on it. Submachine gun that the bullets explode on impact, dealing AoE damage in a 15-foot radius. Holy fucking shit! Found a fat man that shoots double projectiles. Yeah, there is major, like you actually feel like you're progressing with your gear. It's not just like, all right, this is the combat shotgun, now I just have to keep it repaired for the rest of the game.
Oh, all right.
So, I don't know, maybe I'll give you access to my Steam library one of these days, and you could.
No, that's all right, I don't need that. If I want it, I'll pick it up, I'm sure. But, so, Fallout 4, of course, making a whole lot of everyone's playing. It seems like everyone's just logging a ton of time in Fallout 4, and people seem to really be enjoying it. So, I'm glad that it seems to be living up to the hype. So, in the last couple of weeks, Nintendo also recently had an event that called Nintendo Direct, and there was a shitload of info that came out of there.
More Nintendo shit to talk about?
Oh yeah.
Woo.
Let's spend a few. Well, I mean, how could you? We didn't even talk about Linkle. Of course.
Oh my god.
Of course we have more Nintendo shit to talk about. So,
Linkle.
Juxta, you are our resident Nintendo expert. Why don't you walk us through some of what Nintendo Direct had announced?
All right. Well, first of all, they announced that Zelda Twilight Princess the HD is coming out in 2016 for the Wii U.
Okay, I guess.
Are you gonna get it?
Is that exciting? I never actually played Twilight Princess ever.
I played it, but I didn't finish it. Are you gonna get it? Can I finish it?
I've never played it either.
Really?
No,
it's no Ocarina of Time.
No, I mean I played the shit out of Ocarina of Time, but I've never played Twilight Princess.
What about Majora's Mask? Did you play Majora?
Nope.
No? You stopped at Ocarina?
Yeah.
Oh.
And really, the only reason I played that is because I think
feel like the chat's gonna.
Robbie had it.
I feel like the chat's gonna be really pissed off about that.
No.
Where did I play that then? I don't think I bought it. And then
I know where you played it. I think you bought it.
Did Matt have it?
Matt didn't have it. We got you to buy it off of the Wii marketplace thing. You had it on your Wii.
I played it on the 64. I'm
Matt?
positive.
Oh.
Maybe I did have it. Anyway, new Zelda game will return.
Wait.
What?
You're talking about Ocarina.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time.
Are you sure you played that on 64? Could you have played the GameCube? Because GameCube got a re-release version, didn't it? It was a limited copy.
No, I played the 64 version.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
All right.
New Legend of Zelda game will also come out in 2016 on the Wii U.
Okay.
And from what I heard, they're making that open world. Is that
everything's open world?
Everything is open world now.
Fuck it. Everything goes open world.
Yeah.
Jesus. 2015, the year that nobody could say anything offensive. 2016, the year everything goes open world.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's say Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes will be getting a free patch, which adds a new area called the Den of Trials next month.
Anyone play this at all? Triforce Heroes?
Is that the one with the 3 links?
I have no idea. I think isn't that the Dynasty Warriors knockoff or no?
Is it?
You're supposed to be our Nintendo expert.
God, what the fuck?
I didn't know I was going to have to be reading all this. I'm an old school Nintendo, okay? I don't play these newfangled games.
Unless it pertains to old school, like Mario Maker.
Yes, well, it's kind of retro. And Smash Brothers.
Why do we have you on the show? Oh, my God.
I don't know. Here we go. Mario Maker content patch will be out in December, adding checkpoint flags and status-dependent power-ups. Yeah. That's good because the checkpoint thing was something that was severely lacking in Mario Maker.
Well, okay.
Nobody cares. Let's be honest. Don't try and humor him. Nobody gives a shit.
Are you kidding me? Mario Maker is the shit.
I mean, a lot of people play it. How robust is the community for that? Like, how much time do you plug into that?
None.
More. I would want to play more, but I've just been so busy with doing other stuff that I haven't really.
Uh-huh.
And if I had people that actually play my levels, Robbie, except Robbie's terrible. He can't even jump on a single block. Anyway. Let's see. We've got
people in the chat are saying that the Dynasty Warrior clone is Hyrule Warriors. Excuse me for messing that up with Triforce Heroes.
I'm pretty sure Triforce Heroes is I think the 3DS game with the 3 links, and that actually looks really fun. But what
happened to Purple Link?
Well, actually, they got rid of Purple Link because they feel like having 4 links at a time, like, kind of like divides into like 2 teams of 2, and then if they want to direct someone to
Triforce, dude, come on, it's got to be 3.
It just seems
gotta
weird.
be 3.
It just seems weird to me to go from 4 swords to 3. Like, that poor Purple Link's out of a job now.
Fuck him, he's dead.
Yeah, fuck that purple guy.
He's dead.
All right, let's see. Xenoblade Chronicles X is coming out December 4th on the Wii U. The battle system will be based off of the original Xenoblade.
And nobody cares. Did you play any of the Xenoblades?
I have not.
No.
I heard that it was really good, and I was like, ooh, maybe I should pick this up. And then I read that it's like $100 at GameStop for like used copies, quote unquote.
Wait, why?
Because like they stopped making the game.
Super rare. It's just like trying to find original copies of Suikoden.
I feel like it didn't come out that long ago.
But that's the thing. Like they pushed out their initial shipment, and then they stopped making it, and then it's turned out to be super popular. So when they made more games out, like they can't sell a new game for more than $60 because of MSRP. But if it's a used game, then they can kick that shit up. So they opened the games, and then and now it's
claimed
open,
they were used.
It's used, so now they can bump that shit.
Motherfuckers! Fuck
that's
you,
GameStop.
Fuck you.
I honestly would not put. I worked for GameStop, and I would not put that past them.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for GameStop when Xenoblade was new. When that was like a brand new game, Xenoblade Chronicles was just coming out, and I mean, I would not put him past that to do something like that. Oh man, wow, is that shady?
It's so scummy.
Ugh, yuck.
All right. Oh, and we got Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow will be available for the 3DS on the eShop February 27th.
I feel like I want to be more excited for this, but
dude, no, like Generation 1,
it's not even like a redesign of the graphics. It's just a straight port.
And that's why, I'm okay with a straight port too. I think the only thing that I would want out of this is the ability to transfer your pokes from Gen 2 to the Pokemon Bank so that you could get them, like now, basically. But I'm pretty sure that's not going to be there.
It's not possible because of the way the Pokemon are actually coded.
Yeah, I know. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, people are excited about it, but it's all nostalgia.
Yeah, it really is.
Nostalgic cash grab.
Can you really see someone plug in a whole ton of hours into that shit? I really can't. I feel like someone would play it to that was fun. They'd get like 3 gym badges and be like, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Or just play it like they play, mobile games, just derping around. Oh, let me pull this out and play some Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, God. Oh, whatever. I mean, I guess it's nice. You can trade them. You could trade Pokemon on long Wi-Fi now. I guess that's really the only thing, the only ostensible difference.
But that's the problem. you're going to be trading for Pokemon like within that one generation. You can't move them forward, so they're
what's
just like
the point?
kind of locked there. I mean, yeah, what is the point?
I mean, I think you do have a good point that if you could transfer them to your Pokemon bank, that would be one thing. But if they're not going to add that functionality, why even bother?
You gotta.
And Generation 1 was so imbalanced. Psychic types, OP, hello.
We
we also got Hyrule Warriors Legends. Will release on the 3DS March 25th. FemLink is named Linkle.
Linkle. Hyrule Star. The prince does wonder where you are.
What is
Fighting
this?
Ganon, please don't die. Loose your crossbow arrows fly. I wrote that.
What if dude, a lot of people have been freaking out about this.
Why? All right. Because to me, there's one thing to freak out about, and that's the ridiculous fucking name.
Yeah, the name is pretty fucking bad.
Other than that, she's pretty fucking cool. I dig it.
No, I
don't like the dual crossbows. Like, I don't like why. That doesn't scream like female Link to me.
Now, I've got a question for you guys. Do you think Nintendo is testing the water for this new Zelda game that's going to be coming out on Wii U in 2016? Do you think they're testing the waters for possibly switching up the gender of the protagonist in this new Zelda? No. You don't think so?
If they do something like that, it'll be like, are you a boy or a girl, and that's your choice. It's not going to be like, okay, now every Link has to be Linkle.
Well, let me ask you this, all right, because I don't know what the official, canon is behind the games. I know that they are supposed to, I guess, theoretically all exist within the same world and timeline, right?
No.
Okay. You want to explain it to me then, or are you not really sure? Because I know that
I'm not sure on the specifics.
I know that fans have a theoretical timeline out there.
Okay, basically, like, there's like a central like core timeline, and then based off of what happens, 3 separate timelines break off.
Okay.
And then it gets
but the hero. Okay, so the hero of time, right? Like Link, it's not the same guy in every game.
They're descendants,
right?
Okay, so they're like reincarnations.
They're like sons. It's like. It's like
they haven't explicitly.
No,
I don't know that
they haven't said that.
It's more like I feel like it's more like a title. I mean, that somebody is the hero of time. I don't know.
Is
man.
it like
I mean, it's a bit. First of all, it's a bit amorphous. They do not define this at all. Most fantasy games, sci-fi games, they would go to great lengths to really define very finely what this is.
I feel like amorphous. This is like it's like the Dalai Lama. Right? There's only ever one Dalai Lama at a time, but when he dies, he's reincarnated somewhere, right? And takes on the title of Link. If that's the case, then you're right. Having a game either with just a straight-up female protagonist or having one where you can choose male or female works in that case.
Yeah,
and I would be completely fine with that.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Do you see Nintendo possibly going and saying there's not even a choice that in
to be female
for this game, Link is a girl?
Okay, now hold on. As a mainstream like Zelda title, like as in like this is the flagship.
Their 2016 Wii U product. Yeah.
I don't think so. Only based on the concept art of Linkle only having the 2 crossbows, because like the core gameplay of Zelda is having the sword. And I don't think they would shift up that paradigm that much to where, like, they would just like forsake the Master Sword,
Well, not to mention like
if it was like a side project like Triforce Heroes or Hyrule Warriors or something like that, then I could see it like that. But as like the flagship, like this is the Zelda game on the Wii U, I don't think so.
How do you think people would react to it if they did? Like if that was Nintendo's choice and they were like, yeah, we want a female protagonist for one of our Legend of Zelda games, and I mean we don't have to be married to the dual crossbows thing either. Like I'm just saying like yeah, if they were like for this game, I don't know what reason they would give, but like that's the decision that for this game Link is a girl. How would people respond to that? Would gamers overall lose their fucking shit like little children, like I think they would? Or do you think that people would be like, no, I can dig this. I can fully appreciate it too?
I think they would probably lose their shit.
They'd absolutely lose their shit.
Think about all of the Zelda games. I can't think of one that doesn't feature Link prominently as the main character.
Right.
Breaking stuff.
Can you think of a Zelda game that has not Link as the main character?
No. But it still is Link as the main character.
Here's what I think.
Well,
I think
Link.
I think that on announcement, right? I think that there would be a extremely vocal minority of those shitty ass fucking
the Gamergate types.
Motherfucking
those
assholes.
Stupid fucking morons.
You would get your equivalent of how there were.
See? Look at what Anita Sarkeesian did. Look at it. Look, there's a female Link now. Thanks, Anita.
And then they'd go and
Fucking
jerk off,
morons.
and then they would go and jerk off to fan art hentai that was drawn of her.
Exactly.
But no, what I think would happen is those types of people. It would be the equivalent of when Mad Max Fury Road came out, and you had all those fucking men's rights activists lobbying that it's a feminist film ruining. Shut the fuck up, okay? Now, when the game comes out, if the game's actually good, no big deal. I think that'll all blow over.
Yeah.
But if the game ends up being bad, I think then people will blame it on the fact that there was a female protagonist and it wasn't Link.
Yeah, now, do you think that they would say that only if the actual product is bad, or if it just performs poorly in the market? Because there's a difference between a game being bad and not selling well.
Both.
I think if it doesn't sell well, that'll blow over fine, but if it's a legitimately bad game, I think they'll probably...
No, I think she'll take the blame either way, more so if it performs poorly.
Yeah. No, I think, Robbie, I think you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah. I'm all for it, though. I think she looks sweet. I think the concept is really cool. I think with all of... Not that I'm a big fan of political correctness, but with all the stuff that, like, especially Marvel Comics is doing, trying to introduce more, diversity into the lineup.
Yeah.
I think that it makes the most sense with Link being a kind of like descendant or like reincarnated character. To me, that makes the most sense if you want to try and switch up the diversity and give a female protagonist a chance to take the reins and take the lead of something. And what's really cool too is this isn't one that is going to be like overly sexualized in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, right. So what? Wait, you look confused.
What?
Hang on, what?
What do you
like? For example, when you think of like big female protagonists, who's the first?
Oh, you
person,
mean by Nintendo?
Just in general.
I mean, well, her character design is pretty, like it's not scantily clad or anything.
Right,
modest.
Like
modest. Yeah, that's what I was fishing for.
Like when I tell you to think of one of the main big franchise leading female protagonists, who's the first person that pops into your head?
Bayonetta. That's one of them.
Lara Croft.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even if have you seen these Mario Racer cosplayers now? Come on.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, there is a huge problem of over-sexualization, but I mean...
Quiet.
Okay.
That's a problem with Kojima, though. Let's be fair.
That's true. That is very true.
Look at Princess Toadstool and Daisy. They're pretty modest.
Okay, but what about...
Nintendo?
Except when they're playing sports.
Who was the chick from Mario Galaxy? Didn't she have like a really low-cut, like...
Rosalina?
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't she? She doesn't have, like, it's strapless, isn't it?
I don't think. I don't. Maybe. I don't know. Definitely didn't. That did not strike when I saw it.
Did not come to my head when I thought of Rosalina.
Definitely not. No. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that says some weird. I think that says weird space peach.
That's.
I don't know what that says about you, Robbie, but
I've never played the game.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Cloud has been announced as a playable character in Super Smash Brothers. I got that one.
Apparently, people think that you're gonna lose your shit over this. Robbie?
Why?
I don't know. Because it's like FF7 remake or some shit?
People also... Actually, I don't remember if it was you who pointed out, or if it was somebody else that sent me a link to the fact that Nobu isn't going to be in any way
involved with the remake.
Involved with the remake. It's like, okay.
He's already done like.
Well, the music's already made.
I mean, sure, it kind of sucks.
Well,
but
no, I think for the remake, like when you do stuff like that you could actually that you could actually do a way better job at remixing the music that exists and taking the themes that already exist. Although I think it sucks for Nobuo because he doesn't get the paycheck for it.
Yes.
Does he need the paycheck?
Well, that's not the point.
That's not really the point because you want to. I think that.
How do you know that he wasn't approached and he's like, "No, I'm good, guys."
Well, we don't. Well, that's true. That's true because he is independent, so he can pick his projects now. But that's the other thing is that like when we talked about on the last episode the issues with the Composers Guild. That's one of the things is that Nobuo could be losing out on some revenue there because I'm sure that they don't tie him in to any of the profits. So that he doesn't get any residuals after on a remake on like for something like that.
Obviously, it sucks that he's not going to be there to put his touch on it, right? Right. But it's already there. If they plan on using the same music, and I actually like the idea because obviously he's not the only talented composer out there,
sure,
right? So I actually do like the idea of them taking his music and rearranging it, remixing it, whatever it is. I hope they don't go the route of creating an all-new soundtrack because obviously this game is capitalizing on nostalgia, and hearing those familiar, tunes in certain key places is very, very important.
There's no way they're going to redo all the sound.
No.
Right. So
it's going to be all remixed.
So I'm actually, I think, more in love with that idea than I am with them.
Think about a lot of the themes that they redid for something like Dissidia. I mean, you've got fertile ground there. Dissidia is some of the best soundtrack work that's come out in the last 10 years.
Very good dubstep in Dissidia.
Is there really a dubstep track in Dissidia?
No.
I was going to say no, but I mean, like, they do reimagine a lot of those tracks in very interesting ways, and I think that they have the same have the same opportunity with the FF7 remake.
Okay, so they've been like releasing trailer videos for Dissidia characters, and can I just say that the most recent released one, the Tidus one, it's really fucking awful.
Is it really? I didn't watch it.
Because he's like doing like the same opening move, like a swirly slash, and then doing something else, and it's just every time it's the same swirly slash opening. I'm like, how is this like a good fighting game? Because it's like every time it's like the same move and then into something.
Dissidia has never been a good fighting game.
I mean,
that's not why anyone ever played it, and that's kind of the thing is that it'll be actually nice to see Cloud translated into an actually decent fighting game.
Mm-hmm. Which
Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Back to the original, original
right,
Atomic.
Right.
I think that we all thought it was weird because
Cloud has never been in a real game on Nintendo.
He has never been.
Theater Rhythm does not count.
He has never been in played a substantial role in a prominent Nintendo game. Yeah, he was in Theater Rhythm, and people are like, "Oh, well, he was in Kingdom Hearts, and that was on the DS." Fuck off.
That doesn't count either.
It's a stretch.
No, well, he was in Kingdom Hearts, and that does. I mean, okay.
I don't know if he was in Chains of Memories, which is the one that
was
the
Game Boy. But that was the only one on a Nintendo product. So the rest of them have been on Sony.
Now, do they plan on releasing the remake cross consoles?
That's a good question.
Because if it plans on coming out on the Wii, I guess that's fine.
No, I think that there's probably enough development time that may be a plan for the NX.
Yeah, true. He looks awesome though.
Yeah,
he's pretty much an Ike clone.
I also saw a little bit of Shulk in him too, in his air attacks.
I think what I liked the most about it was all kinds of cool stuff. Like he can use different materials and things like that.
Yeah.
No.
Did
I not see that? I felt like I saw him like some of his moves were based on like fire or.
No, those are all of his like moves are basically limit breaks of his.
No, that's true too. He did have a lot of cool. I saw Blade Beam. I saw Clim Hazard. Obviously, Omni Slash is his like final smash.
You may have seen him casting Frog, but what that is he's probably his casting animation is like one of his taunts, and then the Frog was actually an assist trophy.
Oh, Okay, just happens to be that way. All right, that's cool then.
But it looked cool. So
they're also adding an FF7 themed stage with like all of the summons and stuff.
Interesting.
That looks legit.
It looks pretty fucking awesome.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah. So what do you guys think some of his alt costumes are going to be? I mean, obviously,
they showed Classic and they showed Advent Children.
Yes, right? And I think aside from those,
Kingdom Hearts actually has a really unique version of Cloud too.
Yeah,
so
that would be really cool.
I think that would be a pretty cool alt costume as well.
Other than that, it'll probably just be recolors.
I'm personally hoping for a Cloud in a dress.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah.
And if they could change up the play style too to be a little bit more Peach-like, that would be hilarious.
Mm-hmm. I'm also hoping for blocky overworld.
Yeah. See, Cloud is really fertile territory for alt costumes, man. I mean, yeah, you do have the AC version, the original version, but yeah, like the original, the OG version, and as well as the Kingdom Hearts version. I feel like there's another kind of legit version out there too.
Shinra outfit when he's part of the Shinra army on the boat.
Mm-hmm. Wearing like the soldier costume.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah. Pre FF7. Yeah, what he was doing just before FF7.
They could also put a Cloud skin or a Zack skin in there.
Yeah, exactly. It plays exactly the same. You don't even need to change the weapon or any of the animations. You just got to change the head.
Yep.
I'm sure they have one where he has white hair to make a homage to Sephiroth. So.
Oh God. So yeah, there's a ton that they could do for that, and people just shit their fucking pants when this.
It was. I mean, people are like, "Oh, it wasn't out of left field." Guys, it was totally out of left field. It was totally. I did not see Cloud coming.
Never, ever, ever, ever would have saw that coming in a million years.
I could have seen like a black mage or like a white mage or some like NES one or maybe
Warrior of Light.
Yeah, or maybe even like Terra or Cecil or someone.
Furion.
No one. But the thing is that
nobody cares about them.
Only the Final Fantasy diehards love them. And if you want a character that says Final Fantasy to people who don't play Final Fantasy, that's fucking Cloud Strife right there.
Yeah,
or 110%. Or Lightning. And I think we've all had enough of her.
Yeah, I'm actually like if the choice was between Cloud and Lightning, I'm so glad they went Cloud. So glad. I'm so sick of fucking Lightning and everything.
I mean, if you're gonna go between those two, Lightning was based off of Cloud, so of course you're gonna go with the OG Cloud.
Yeah.
So alternate costume Lightning.
Oh God,
I'm down.
No. All right, what else was out there?
Oh, let's see what else we got. Star Fox Zero will release April 21st.
Is anyone excited for this game at all?
Now, see, my question is, does it pay homage to Star Fox 64? Or is it going to be like some kind of like off-kilter one like Star Fox Adventures?
Dude, I don't even know. I know so little about this game at this point.
The last so many games that Star Fox was in have been kind of bad.
So bad. They've been really, really bad.
Like I even tried playing that one on the DS where it's like the closest thing to the 64 version.
Still not good.
Still not very good.
Oh man, I think that's a series that they really need to let go of. I mean,
but they have the furry crowd. Space furries.
They got them on clinch, man.
But they're not even trying at this point is the problem. Like they're really just. It's a series that is really not coming together, and you know, I mean, look. It's, I mean, granted. Look, like Metroid is another series that is like fallen to pieces in the last couple of console generations, but they can really bring that back.
Right.
It's especially with how well like third and first person like adventure shooters are doing right now. A Metroid comeback could be in the
open
cards.
World Metroid. Oh wait, isn't that always normal?
God. But seriously, like I just don't know why they keep clinging on to Star Fox or why they keep dumping money into it. The last, like you said, the last couple of games have been terrible.
Like I don't see why Star Fox 64 was so good, but it was a great game, and I don't see why they can't just make that game again. Like it doesn't seem like
it was
anything.
so simple.
It was.
It was so simple.
But it was so good. Why? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why do you have fans? Same conundrum.
I don't get it.
But honestly, I don't know why. I don't know why they cling on to Star Fox or what they want to do with it. It just seems like they've made really weird decisions with that series. So, all right, but yeah, that was most of the big stuff out from the Nintendo conference, the Nintendo Direct conference. If you want more info, we'll have a link to that at our website, finalencountercast.com, with this episode posting. So yeah, definitely interesting stuff from Nintendo. I mean, finally Nintendo giving us some stuff to talk about. They did not have much of a showing at E3. They've been pretty quiet in the last couple of months. They've only had these Nintendo Direct, things
really,
that come out.
They don't really need E3. They have the Nintendo Directs, and they can just channel all of the fanboyism into one concentrated
point. When
point.
they did Nintendo Direct, I remember that day, like the news headlines on Facebook, like they had like 5 of the top 10.
Yeah.
Not even just under entertainment, just fucking flat out the top headlines.
No, I understand. I definitely understand why they decided to do it that way. But I've got to say that it is just finally nice to hear from Nintendo and to hear some good news out of them. Their last couple of Nintendo Directs were not that good, and didn't talk about much. So maybe they did save all of their cool stuff for this one. And
motherfucking Cloud,
dude, the biggest
motherfucking Cloud,
the Cloud, Linkle, all of that shit. You're
that fucking name. Like
it's okay, but like think of it this way: like if they were actually going to have Linkle be a descendant of like the Link lineage, then they kind of had to have Link in the name to create that basis.
Here's my thing. Link doesn't have to be a male name.
Yeah,
just
it's not.
call her Link.
Link is not a gendered name. It absolutely is not. So I'll totally second you.
Now, I mean, if they just need a way to distinguish from the original Link, all right, I guess fine, but just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty dumb. Anyway, all right. So that's pretty much it for everything out at Nintendo Direct. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for Final Encountercast. We really enjoy doing this show, and we've only this is only episode number 5. We've only really been doing
the most fun I've had. Like,
yeah.
Do we have to bring Nika and Callie back?
It's certainly on screen. It's been the most organized. That's for sure. But we've only really done 5 of these. We've only done 1 mini Encountercast, which is something that we plan on doing a little bit more of. But I don't know. In the 5 episodes that we've done so far, what do you guys think that we should be carrying into this next year with us as we move into 2016? I think I think that we've made a pretty good foundation with this show, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know that it's a whole. It's not. I don't know that it's that different from a whole lot of other shows that exist on Twitch. And I think that we would like to be thinking of ways that we could make a much more interesting show than just a framed talk show on Twitch, because that's a pretty common thing to come across. And I think we would like to step up our game. And so I mean, how do you guys feel after 5 months of doing the show? Because when we started this, we did so at the behest of our audience from our other show, Limit Break Radio, and it wasn't necessarily of our like we had a whole bunch of stuff that was like set and ready to go. We were just like, oh, we got a spitball, let's go, let's doing this.
Yeah.
So how do you guys think that these first 5 episodes have gone? I think they've been pretty good.
They have been good, definitely. I don't feel like we've settled on any kind of it's been format, right?
Yeah.
It's been very natural. It's been very fluid. I do think it's all still been really good. I've had a lot of fun. We're doing something right because our numbers continue to grow. Obviously, we had a lot of fun with the David Hayter thing, which I think is one of our defining moments so far, as well as the Konami call. I think it's a different kind of animal. Like you said, we do have this other show. We do have Limit Break Radio, which has a very specific format to it.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, the first few episodes, we were kind of, doing the same thing we are now, but then obviously we fell into a format with the 3 episodes a month thing. And then when we went monthly, we fell into a different format. And I think the reason that works really, really well for LBR is because we have a single thing that we focus on, a single game that is our lifeblood. So we know what we're working towards towards and what we're working with. And even when there isn't any content, like the dry spell that we just went through,
right,
it's still, we have our eyes on where we need to go. You know, it's a little bit off road, but we still have a plan that we're all on board with and we all attack, and it turns out really, really great. But with this, we are looking at an entire industry.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Is
it's
constantly
way bigger.
changing, constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so much other collateral stuff. I mean, you know, we get tossed into tangents about, you know, Star Wars movies or, you know, comic book things. We make allusions back to games, you know, constantly. And I don't know if coming up with a format for this show is even possible with the way that it is. Obviously, we want to start taking calls, and like you said, that's something that, to your knowledge, nobody else does.
Right.
So that's going to be really cool, and I think that that's something that that is going to help to define us. Other than that, I think what we're going to have to do is kind of what we do a little bit with LBR, and we're going to have to give the viewers and the listeners something that they don't see a lot of, but that brings them back, something in your face, you know, which I think we get a little bit. Obviously, we got a lot with how upset that you were over the Konami stuff.
Yes,
right, absolutely. So I don't know. It's a work in progress. It's definitely still an experiment for us.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Is I mean, you know, I think it is worth talking about because, you know, we are doing something entirely different from what we do with Limit Break Radio, and in doing that, it really has presented us with some challenges that we were not really we didn't know that we would have to face.
And not to mention with LBR, we knew what the market was already offering. It was a lot of the exact same things, so it was really easy for us to find a market of that wasn't tapped yet and to go to town on it. But with something like this, obviously the market is incredibly oversaturated.
Yes, it is.
So it's hard to get a foothold with not really knowing where we want to start at, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think for me, I would like to find things that that I'd like to be a little bit more contentious about. I mean, it's good and all to talk about the news and what's going on in the video game industry, but I think I'd really like to be able to latch onto some stuff that has, you know, passion, like more stuff that really, you know, like how pissed off I got at Konami. I think if we did a bit more muckraking with Final Encounter Cast and really dug for some dirt as opposed to, you know, just kind of reviewing what was going on with Nintendo's NX. You know what I think
we need to do?
What's that?
I think what we need to do is we need to get more personal. You know,
maybe.
When we first kind of pitched this show, obviously, like you said, it was something that was brought up by our listeners. You know, they wanted to do this, and obviously we talked about it a little bit. And what our pitch to each other kind of ended up being was, I remember distinctly, the three of us and Callie were all sitting around out there in your thing, and we were just kind of talking, and we started talking about horror stories of trying to trade in games, you know, back in the day.
Sure.
Right? And someone was like, see, this could be a show. This is what we should do.
Yeah.
It was very personal. We were sharing stories with each other. And I think we want to be that, but at the same time, we're also trying to be like a news source, you know, covering the big things, right? And I think maybe what we need to focus on is specifically things that interest us and things that we're passionate about. I mean, yeah, it's cool having, you know, Callie or me, because I'm better at it, read the news at the beginning of the episode, right? But I think what we really need to dig into is things that maybe aren't on the big radar, things that, you know, mean a lot to us that we can get passionate about, because that is the thing that is going to drive people to want to share us with other people.
Yeah.
I mean, our biggest LBR episode that I think until recently got us the most traffic was Salted Earth.
Yeah.
When you fucking went to town, and our numbers on Twitch were just ticking up because people were like, look at this fucking asshole.
Right, yeah.
Holy shit, this neckbeard motherfucking hipster.
Yeah.
You know, send it to your link show. Look at this guy. What the fuck is going on with this guy? He's having a meltdown.
Yeah.
You know,
He's even vaping while he's doing it.
I mean, obviously, people got a kick out of my passion for FF7 in the first episode and storming out on 3 different screens. Fuck you all. I think that's what people like, and I think, especially in the market out there, a lot of people don't do that. You know, a lot of people want to, you know, get noticed by people. You got to be PC. You got to make sure that your content's for everyone to reach the widest market, so that you can hand out these copies of Battlefront and give free time cards and
Well, that's the thing is, like for as much as we talked about Fallout 4 and you really gave it a very glowing review. I don't know that's not necessarily what we're setting out to do. We're not setting out to give games glowing reviews. I almost wish that there was a little bit more of contentiousness there, or that maybe I had a chance to experience the game and I had maybe a different experience than you had.
It would have been nice to maybe have someone on here who was having those terrible graphic or issues or whatever.
And I think that'll be part of the nice part about allowing callers onto the show, is that we'll have that opportunity. Now,
know what? I have an idea for a segment that could at least introduce tension amongst us.
Oh.
Okay? This is something that I've kind of been doing a little bit, and I haven't gotten a lot of thanks for it, which, kind of bugs me a little bit. But I have been sending free games to Chris over Steam. And he barely fucking touches them, and he is an ungrateful little fucking prick.
Yeah, because they're fucking terrible.
Have you played Turbo Pug yet?
No.
You haven't even fucking touched it.
It's in my inventory, so I can send it to some other poor bastard.
No, you need to play that.
Fuck that.
I spent that money on you, and you should play that. So here
9 cents.
Here's what I think we should do.
Thanks.
Here's what I think we should do.
What?
I think we should do kind of like a Secret Santa sort of thing with Steam, where we send each other Steam games, right, that we have to play, and then we talk about our experiences on air.
Oh, man. I don't know. If we were doing the show weekly, I think that may be...
Well, because I think doing it monthly is fine, because it gives us all a chance, to get the game to spend, you only spent like fucking 5 minutes with Suicide Pig, you fucking prick.
It's terrible. There was no jump button, okay? You had to press up.
That's the jump button!
Who the fuck does that? That's retarded.
When you jump, what direction do you go in?
You press A to jump. Welcome to Mario.
You go up when you press jump.
Circa 1985.
Anyway, the point is that we're looking for new stuff to do on the channel all the time. We're looking for new stuff to do with the show all the time. If you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate. Give us an email, finalencountercast@gmail.com. We really do appreciate any of the feedback and suggestions that you have for the show. We appreciate you checking it out and giving us a shot at twitch.tv/finalencountercast. If this is your first time joining us, hit that follow button. If you like what you see, come back. We're going to be streaming all kinds of games and stepping up our Twitch presence over here significantly in the next couple of months. And of course, we do want to continue to make adjustments to the way that the show is run and what we're doing to make sure that we're providing the most entertainment that we can. I really do. I think that while today's show was really interesting and I appreciated hearing all about Fallout 4, I'd really love to be able to get some people in here, some callers in to give their experiences and to because gaming is so
dissenting opinions.
Well, gaming is so experiential too, and it changes between, and it's so just a blanket opinion.
Our newest roommate is also playing through Fallout 4, and
right.
And we're constantly going in and out of the room and talking to each other and showing off the new gear and the weapons that we got, and that was one of the reasons that I was hoping that Chris would get into it, because having another person to share stories like that with is just it's a lot of fun, and it's different from the kind of stories you get when playing like an MMO where you're all doing the same content, whereas in this you're experiencing all kinds of different things.
Yeah, totally. All right, so speaking of emails, let's move on to we actually got a handful of emails from the last episode.
This is actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Nika. She's not here. We're not doing that on this show.
No,
Stop it.
Stop it.
And everyone else. First time I'm emailing you all, and I want to start by saying you're doing an amazing job. I love listening to your shows at work.
Oh, thank you.
I have never played any Metal Gear games, and after listening to these past 2 amazing episodes of Feck, I really want to give the series a start. Anyone know if there are plans to get more games from the series on Steam, or is it just the most recent? Whenever I'm able to start playing the game, should I play them in numerical order or chronologically? Also, do any of you have interest in doing a Let's Play for the series to share your opinions of the games as you play along? Keep up the great work. Cross.
Thank you very much for that email, Cross. All right, so in terms of releasing...
Well, first of all, very interesting email because I am actually in the exact same position that you are.
Yeah. So I don't think that there are plans to release the older games on PC.
At this point, no.
Yeah, they did. They did get an HD re-release on the 6th generation, so Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Which comes with 3 games on there, right?
Yes, it comes with Metal Gear Solid 3, 2, and Peace Walker. And the subsistence version of Metal Gear Solid 3 that's included on there also has the 8-bit versions of the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. So you actually get 5 games with that. So it really is a hell of a deal. And plus those 2 original 8-bit games are fantastic. So as in terms of your question about where you should start the series, and I will recommend the same thing to you that I recommended to Robbie when he asked the same question. I recommend doing it chronologically, and I recognize that there are some drawbacks to doing that. There are some narrative qualities that end up becoming lacking, but I make a strong argument for including the 8-bit games in your playthrough. If you're going to do a playthrough, if you want to do Metal Gear and you end up liking Metal Gear, you're going to want to include the 8-bit games. So I would say to get the best feel for the series and the gameplay, start with 3, because 3 is a PlayStation 2 game. If you get the HD reboot, it has it has the great textures, great graphics. It still plays very, very well, and you really will get a feel for the mechanics and see if you can, if it's something that you want to invest yourself in terms of the story. For some of these games that are a little bit harder to play earlier on in the series. Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PlayStation 1 is a brilliant game, but it has some inherent drawbacks, and it's very difficult to play for someone who, for anyone now, because we're not used to the PlayStation 1 era. Nika recommends people start with Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation. I don't agree with that. So
I think the reason she does that is because, drawing from her own memories, that's what she's basing it on. Right. Now, for me, I'm obviously doing it chronologically like you suggested. And the reason why is through our discussions here on the show, through, things that I've heard from other friends here and there on social media, or even just through things that I've looked up myself, on Wikipedias or just whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of big plot twists or character things that I'm aware of already.
Right.
So when it comes to, this is the way that Kojima meant for you to experience it, that's already ruined for me.
Right.
So it's a lot more interesting for me playing through it chronologically to try and tell myself, all right, this is the way that it happened in canon, right?
Yes.
So when I'm
which
sitting here,
I think is a really good way to experience the story as well, and it has different.
It's also really cool to know, like in the back of your head, where things are going and what they've already done, but have to tell yourself, no, we don't know that yet, right?
Yes, right.
So just looking at it like in the one I'm playing now, Snake Eater, at least the first 2 hours that I'm in, like the Metal Gear doesn't exist yet. You see the precursor of what it is, and so that's why I kind of have to stop myself and say, that's where it's at, basically, and it's a really cool, unique kind of perspective on it.
Yeah, and again, I would not recommend anyone start with the 8-bit games, because if you're not into 8-bit games, I just don't think that it's going to do the series justice, and you're going to struggle with it. I mean, like, that's where if you're going to play it in order, like really, really, really play it in order, and you want to get the full sense of the game series, don't start at the 8-bit stuff. Start at Snake Eater, and I say that for people who are maybe not necessarily sold on playing it front to back. So yeah, that's my personal opinion. Although I do think that if you played it in release order, that you would be incredibly impressed by the non-linear storytelling aspect of it.
Lion MX from the chat is saying that they think you should start with Metal Gear Solid 1 because for the same reason, if you play the lesser gameplay first and then go on to better games, you want to stick with it. And so they say if you start with the best one, then you go on to another one that's not as good. You might be like, oh, this isn't as good, and toss it aside.
No.
To which I disagree, and I even played the games because from what I get, just from the way you talk about it, is one of the big driving, motivating factors for Metal Gear Solid is the narrative.
Yes.
You don't necessarily play it because the gameplay is cool. You play it because you are compelled by the characters.
And here's the thing. If you start at 3, so you would play 3, then you would play Peace Walker, then you would play Ground Zeroes, and then you'd play 5. So it actually gives you, like, that's an incredible introduction to the series. And at that point, after you beat 5, then you've got to go back to the 8-bit stuff.
The bad ones.
Not the bad. They're not bad. They're just old. And that's all it is that they're old. That's still a fundamental Metal Gear experience, but I think it's actually way cooler to kind of rewind like that and see how well the Metal Gear experience translates in an 8-bit environment. That, to me, was super fucking impressive. Did I get the same impact of the big twist at the end that Big Boss is who you're fighting? Oh, no. Some of that, a lot
Spoilers.
of that, well, I mean, come on. A lot of that impact was taken out for me, and I'm sure that somebody who played through Metal Gear in 1985 for the very first time, that was a big deal for them. That kind of stuff, you're just not going to get the same impact from, even if you start at Metal Gear 1. So just go ahead. I would say start with 3, and if you can, if by the time you finished 5, you're invested. You're going to play the rest of that game series. And then it ends like it, again, you playing it in chronological order. It ends at 4. 4, while it got a lot of criticism for its presentation, you're ending on a PlayStation 3 game, and so it's still a very high note for the series.
I don't know. If I don't know what happens to the Salanthropus, I don't know if I want to continue playing the rest of the Metal Gear Solid games.
Stop it. All right. Next email here. Dear hosts and hi, Robbie.
Now that's something that we can start.
Congratulations on the success of the new podcast. I'm really excited to see future episodes and hopefully more extra special guests in the future. After the interview with David Hayter, after the David Hayter interview aired, I blasted your podcast all over social media. It sparked many debates among my friends and I.
That's really
thank
cool.
you. Seriously, that's what we need people doing. We need people blasting our content across social media and trying to get other people involved in the discussion.
Blast
so thank
us
you.
all really hard.
Yes, right
Blast
in the face. I firmly stand with the voice actors and feel that they should be fairly compensated for their work. One of my friends says that quote-unquote fair is subjective and would like to know how much money they already get paid. His stance was that he doesn't see any voice actors standing in welfare lines. I don't think that this is a fair viewpoint, though. Just because someone isn't hard up for money doesn't mean that their work isn't deserving a fair portion of profits. I do see his viewpoint, though, that he wouldn't like to see games go from $60 to $80 price tag, but if they pay just for paying the voice actors what they're asking for, but I don't think that would necessarily be the case. Anyway, I would like to know your stance on these things, and maybe you could provide some numbers for us, like what they get paid now and what increases they are asking for. Thank you very much for that email, Nick. We greatly appreciate it. And that's the thing, is that these are talent, and their pay rates are actually negotiated as a part of their contract. So a talent like David Hayter he's not being paid scale, okay? He's not going to get scale wage for this. That's someone who is a smaller talent, a lesser known name. That's someone who would be getting scale. If you're hiring a voice like Nolan North, like David Hayter, like I'm blanking on her name now. Jennifer Hale. Jennifer Hale. If you're hiring people like these that have a big resume and a well-known track record of giving good performances, then because they have a bigger resume, because they have all of these big performances under their belt, they can, each rate is negotiated differently. It's between the game company and the voice actor and their agent.
And the other thing that you have to remember too is two things. This isn't just about, we want more money, give us more money, right? And you're right. Fairness is subjective. But what is not fair, I don't think anybody can argue this, would say be bringing in a voice actor, I'm going to use air quotes for that, voice actor, to create this character, right? And being a voice actor is inherently different to acting on camera, okay? You have to put so much more of this characterization in just your voice. You have nothing else visual to go on, okay? And some people can't do it. Take a look at Peter Dinklage, right?
Yeah.
So you bring them in, they put all the work into doing this, okay? And let me tell you, there is a lot of work that goes into both the voice acting and acting. I promise you there is. It's not necessarily super hard manual labor, but there's a lot of it, right? So that's a voice actor, and he would get paid his scale, which is just a one-time, boom, there you go. And then they bring in somebody like Samuel L. Jackson, or who was the Wreck-It Ralph guy?
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly, right? To do a voice actor's job, but gets paid like an actor.
Well, no, not even that. They get cut in on the back end.
And yes, okay, and to me, that's just all kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
You're doing less work than the actual voice actor, but in the end, you're actually giving like the same product, but you're getting paid differently, like you did a different role. It's fucking insane. That aside, again, if you listen to the episode, it's not just about money. It's also about working conditions. It's about safety things. So if that's all your friend took from this, is that they just want more money and fucking fairness is subjective. Well, you know what else is fucking subjective? Your fucking intelligence, you stupid ass prick. Fuck off.
I just don't think. Yeah, like I don't think that you can draw that exact same conclusion. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that you can say, oh well, just because they want more money, it's going to take our games from a $60 price tag to an $80 price tag.
What was the fucking dumb. EA CEO got how much of a bonus?
Exactly.
It's not going to take up games, and in fact, it shouldn't hike up the price of games, okay? Because what they're asking for compared to what this industry pulls in is fucking minuscule.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I think, what we were driving at is the fact that it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's say that your talent price that you've negotiated for a main character, whoever's playing that, they're going to get $80,000. Fine. Whatever. That's a one-time $80,000 cost that they only have to cover once ever. Ever. And so because
and now you can re-release this game in HD.
Yep.
You can make ports of it to, PC.
As long as you don't ever have to re-record the session, that session is the game developer's property forever and ever. So they get to use it in perpetuity. And that performer performing on the game, they only get paid once. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the bigger problem there. And what the voice actors are asking for is just to be cut in on the back end. I mean, among some other things. But when you have huge profit margins, like a game that's selling 10 million units or a game that's selling 20 million units, right? And and I'm not saying that games don't have high production costs. They absolutely do. And they have high marketing costs, okay? And these companies, publishers are, game developers and publishers are out to make money. That's what they exist to do. But if you're not fairly compensating your talent, then the talent is gonna
go elsewhere.
Yeah, they're gonna go elsewhere. And if the conditions are untenable, then you got to listen to your fucking talent. You can't ignore that. When you have a referendum like 96% of the voting SAG-AFTRA population saying yes, we give this authorization. That's you cannot ignore that if you're the video game industry. You can't. And I'd really like to know how EA, how Activision, how all of these American-based companies are reacting to this. What are they doing? I mean, we've heard nothing since that episode. We've heard nothing on either camp from either the voice actors or the video game industry. And so I don't know what kind of movement or what kind of discussion is happening behind closed doors. But the fact of the matter is that the request, we know that because the voice actors have now become vocal about it and have gone to the media and said, yeah, we're going to strike if this doesn't get better. We know that the conditions are untenable for them. And who are we to come in and say, yeah, but are they really? But I don't see anyone standing in the welfare lines. I don't see voice actors standing in welfare line.
Well,
that's
because
such a fucking shitty thing to say, first of all.
Not to mention, second of all, too, I mean, how often do you go stand in the welfare line and, you have a giant occupational "my name is" card on your fucking neck, you goddamn Neanderthal.
Too.
And really, we don't really go to welfare lines to begin with. You could just do all that stuff online.
Yeah, you just call in for that.
Yeah, it's call in or like internet in. Come on,
internet in.
But I mean, honestly, I really don't know how someone can make that jump and say, oh well, they're not poor, they're not hurting for money. Again, go back and watch the documentary I Know That Voice.
You want to know what
it is? It goes into a lot of voice actors' homes, their personal homes, because that's where they're conducting the interview. Look at where they live. Tell me if these people are living large up on the fucking hill. They're not. They're definitely not. They make modest livings because, first of all, you've got to find the work. That can be challenging. You've got to audition. And, and you've got to know people. You got to network. And I realize that that's not any different from a whole lot of other industries that exist out there. But there are only so many roles that can go around. And fucking Nolan North and Troy Baker fucking take all of them. All of them. And so, if that's the case, man, there are struggling voice actors. That's why there's amateur voice acting communities that exist out there. There are people who do this on a hobby basis that want to be professionals that don't because the industry is so small. I know it's a little something about that because I'm trying to work in the radio industry, which is not exactly a growth industry. And you would think that with the amount of money that video games are able to make and the amount of money that goes around the video game industry, that there would be more money to allocate to your talent properly. That's I think really the point, is that there's just so much money going around that it's not like the radio industry where there's just no money because people aren't buying ads. Well, what, are people just not buying games? No, that's not the case. When a game is hot, a game's fucking hot and it flies off the fucking shelves. It does really well and it makes a lot of money. And if that's the case, then compensate your fucking talent. And that's the other big thing. That's the other big caveat. If that's the case, they're not saying just give us more money. They're saying if the game performs well, if the game performs up to your standards, whatever those standards are, whatever that benchmark is, then you know what? Properly pay your talent. Properly compensate them. All right.
Tell us how you really feel, Nero.
Well, they asked.
Nate.
All right. Who wants to take this next email here?
It's kind of a long one.
No, this one's pretty short.
Is it?
Yeah,
all
comparatively.
Right, then Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, FEC hosts. I have seen more and more negative statements and a general negative mentality towards microtransactions in recent months and years. And I pose the question to you all. Why are they, quote, bad? I can understand negativity towards pay-to-win systems and that are, in my opinion, unethical. Or a pay system that makes the game unbeatable unless you put up some cash. But why is simply including microtransactions in games bad, quote-unquote? I cite the recent Halo 5 release as an overly negative reaction to a benign payment system. In many ways... Wait, what? Yeah, in many ways, real money in games can benefit the game as a whole and drive the fan base related patronage. I cite League of Legends as a good example.
Well, yeah, I think League of Legends is a good example because there's literally, you don't have to pay anything for the base game. It's only pay if you really want something out of it.
And the stuff that you buy is basically skins or more heroes.
Right.
Yeah.
League of Legends is probably the best example of microtransactions. And you're right. There's nothing inherently wrong. Was that the end of the email?
No.
Oh, continue then.
I see so many people cry about real money in games, and I gotta say it sounds a lot like Final Fantasy XIV Care Bears and We Wants. Fan and supporter Wyatt Turk, Wooten Panther of the LB Army.
Thank you very much for that email, Wyatt Turk.
As I was saying, though, microtransactions, no, they are not inherently evil, okay? But I think where a lot of it comes from is when you pay money for a base game, or let's say you're paying a monthly subscription for a game, and then they start telling you, here's some more content you can have, but you have to pay for it. Anytime anyone wants your money, people are always going to jump to negative conclusions because I've already given you money to play this game, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to cosmetic things, yeah, big fucking deal. Especially, if they affect absolutely nothing.
Sure.
That's not a big deal. And yeah, League of Legends does a great job of it.
Right.
Or even take Guild Wars. I think does a great job of being able, having like basically both things. They have their in-game currency of gold, then they have these crystal things, and they actually have an exchange rate, so you can turn gold into crystals into gold. I think that's fine too.
Right.
So, but I actually have no idea what this whole Halo 5 thing is that they're talking about.
I actually don't either. I'm not kind of up on that. But I think that the thing that people get annoyed with, and this is not necessarily just microtransactions, but this is also to DLC as well, is when a developer will take something out of the game that is part of the full package and then say, oh well, this is extra DLC or
day one DLC
or
on disc DLC.
Yeah, exactly. DLC should be bonus content. It's not something that is, it's something. I always felt that in the early days of DLC, I was like, oh, this is such a good idea because a game company will finish the game, they'll put it out, and then they can continue with a very skeleton-like staff to be able to create some little pockets of content to keep people playing the game and a little less likely to play it for 4 days and bring it back to GameStop. Okay, so I understand what the driving underpinnings towards DLC were supposed to be, and initially I thought that was a really good idea.
And a lot of companies still do it very well.
Yes, and that's the thing is that there are certain companies that do adhere to that and do think it's fucked up to take something that's core to the product, take it out and charge people extra money for that. But there are way too many other developers and big time developers, large AAA developers that are willing to hack their game apart and nickel and dime you for all of these things that would otherwise be in the finished product that have been stripped out for DLC or bonus content, quote unquote bonus content. DLC should always be bonus content. Microtransactions is a little bit different though, because if you structure your entire game around microtransactions, then I think you have an opportunity to be a little bit more thoughtful with it. But if you have a game that stands on its own and then you try to figure out how to microtrans the shit out of it, that people do not like that at all.
Yeah.
Audiences don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. That's the kind of stuff that I think I get really bent out of shape about. So.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. So, again, thank you, Wyatt Turk, for that email. Again, if you'd like to send any email, you can do that at finalencountercast@gmail.com. All right. I guess I'll take it.
I'm sorry,
Robbie.
It's my turn.
Robbie, okay, you go ahead.
All right. So the tablet died, so I'm reading off my phone now.
Oh, okay.
Hey, guys. Andrew here. I'm going to ask you your opinion on a couple of things regarding the voice actor strike. I was at a Comic-Con event in Windsor here back in August when I first got wind of this from Vic Minagna. Did I say that right? Is that a guy you know?
I don't know. No, it's not a guy that I know.
A voice actor, musician, a director, and an actor. He is currently working on Star Trek Continues with a stellar cast, including Grant Imahara.
Okay, that I do know Grant Imahara.
Christopher Dohan. And Christopher Dohan. There's just two of them. All right. So Vic was mentioning that some voice actors have to work extremely hard and strain quite a bit for certain characters, while others just talk.
Yep.
But the pay stays roughly the same.
Yes.
Now, I can see his point as the strenuous characters can affect other jobs and characters. In his case, his acting and singing career, too.
Just think about Marcus Phoenix. I mean, think about what John DiMaggio has to do to be able to produce Marcus Phoenix's voice. Literally every line is yelled like this. And for some people, it's probably not a thing that you really have to concentrate on, and maybe you can slip into this voice really easily. But to be able to maintain this takes a lot of effort for people. I mean, it's not an easy voice to maintain, and it does stress your vocal cords quite a bit. So, I mean, if it's something that's off your normal vocal range, then yeah, absolutely. You still want to make that paycheck. You still want to be that character. Yeah, I mean, as an actor, I think that you really would probably still want that opportunity. And to say, oh, well, I don't want to do this because it strains my voice too much. I get what Vic is saying, man. That's a tough thing. And I think that, for characters like a Marcus Phoenix or, just a very screamy, vocally stressful character, that there does need to be a distinction between the two.
Mm-hmm. So. He goes on to say, you mentioned that voice actors should get some pay for re-releases, remakes, etc. But what about VHS to DVD or DVD to Blu-ray, etc.? They too are in a way HD remakes since some editing, formatting, and restoration and programming menus are involved. It does sound fitting to get some sort of royalty, but where is the line draw? drawn. I do agree that voice actors and actors does affect the final product in a massive way. Another unique case would be Lego Lord of the Rings. If you played it, you can recall that the whole game used voice clips straight from the movie, and it said that the actors probably didn't see any sort of payment for their work. And not just the voice actors, but the musicians, composers as well. If the strike goes on, I'm sure more will trigger thereafter. What are your thoughts? Until next time. No, you know what? You're right. If they do a re-release and they reuse that stuff, yeah, the voice actors should be cut in.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure what you mean by where is the line drawn, because when it comes to Hollywood and actual actors, okay,
yes, they do
20, 30, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, all right, when they are playing back fucking 3.5 Men or 2.5 Men on reruns, somebody's getting paid for that.
Yeah,
somebody related to Charlie Sheen is getting that.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the actual interview, so I don't know if this is something that we want to say or not. But I mentioned to David Hayter that I really enjoyed the first 2 X-Men movies that he wrote, and he goes, "Oh well, thanks. Every time you watch that, I get a nickel." Yeah,
and that's the thing, is that Hollywood does compensate people like that
constantly.
And people being that's like worked into a lot of contracts for actors, is that they will receive residuals in perpetuity for as long as the product stays printed. So yes, in a lot of in your example, VHS to DVD, that is kind of like an HD remake, but all of those actors are still being paid because it is that product in perpetuity.
Yep. You go to Walmart, right, and you see like an Arnold Schwarzenegger 5-pack that has the 5 Terminators in it, and you decide, I'm gonna buy that.
Come on, you can come up with 5. You can come up with 5 Schwarzenegger films on the spot. Come on,
yeah,
Last Action Hero.
Yeah,
that's a fucking great.
That's my favorite one.
Last Action Hero. Eraser. Total Recall.
Total Recall. Daddy Daycare.
No, come on.
Kindergarten Cop.
No, what was the one? No, Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom. That's the one.
Anyway,
Kindergarten Cop.
You buy a 5-pack of Schwarzenegger movies. Guess what? He just got paid.
Exactly.
5 nickels.
5 nickels, yes.
It's probably a fraction of a cent, but he still gets paid. So the fact that voice actors are just asking for their scale a second time, that is not a very big concession.
Yeah, totally.
At all.
Totally. I agree. Totally agree. All right, this next one is very short. Chris, how about you read this one?
Hey guys, I've been listening to all the LBR and FVC episodes. I heard you say that Square wanted to reboot/remaster old games, and it got me thinking. If SE brought out a pack of ports of Final Fantasies 1 through 6 and brought them all out at that time, how much would you pay for it? I said to my friends I would pay upwards of $100. Okay, well, love the show. Thank you for all you guys and girl do. Squish Daddy.
Thank you for that email, Squish Daddy.
When it comes to
Daddy.
HD...
Squish.
Are you calling me your daddy?
Squish.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm never really all that excited for HD remakes and shit as I think people get hyped for.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's
I like
the first game was
remakes.
Great.
I like remakes. They usually add stuff.
If they do an actual remake, the most recent Pokemon games, Sapphire. And
Ruby. Omega, Ruby,
because those are basically new games.
Yeah.
Or Final Fantasy IV on the DS, where they had voice acting, 3D.
I still had the same problem with those in that I was like, oh, I've already played this though. You know what I mean? And I get to the 3rd badge. And I'm like, okay, I put it down and I don't ever go back. Whereas Bravely Default, I played the fuck out of that game. And I
see, that's the funny thing, because that's completely reversed to me. Cause
it was, yeah.
Because as soon as I don't know if this is true or not, but after you get through that 4th crystal, you have to go fight all the bosses again or something.
Yeah, it does. There is a certain amount of repetition in Bravely Default.
I'm done with this game.
Once I got the XP and the AP egg or whatever, and then I maxed out all of my jobs, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
All right, I beat the game.
Yeah, yep. So whereas, the Pokemon games, I played the shit out of those and completed my Pokédex.
Yeah.
But, so if that were to happen, if they're like, oh, we remastered all these games, how much you going to pay? I'd be like, nothing, because I'm going to get a Vita, and I'm going to go to your store, and I'm going to download all the original ones there, and I'll just play those, because it's going to be cheaper.
I'm not sure, because they've done remasters of a lot of those games. I think the only ones that haven't gotten an update are 5 and 6. in that series, because 1 and 2 got sprite remasters on the PSP. 3 got a total revamp on the DS.
Did 3?
4, yeah. 3's the one. 3, like 3 you can get on mobile platforms, you can get on the 3DS, you can get on the PSP. 4 they did a full 3D reboot of on the DS.
The after years.
And included the after years. 5 did not get it. It just got a sprite reboot on mobile platforms. Same with 6.
Yes.
So I think if they went back and if they did what they did to 3 and 4 with 5 and 6, then I think you'd have some people that would be chomping at the bit to be able to get it. I think I would too. Yeah. I definitely would, but I don't think what they did for like the iOS re-releases of 5 and 6. I don't think that they could package those in and pass that off. No way. I mean, I really do. Like 5 was a little bit debatable. 6 was a downgrade in terms of how it looked.
Really
the SNES version looked
I'll give
way
it credit
better.
though. The HD graphics on the monsters, top notch. That's the best part about those games is the HD monster sprites.
I'll give you that. But yeah, if they did it full 3D, I think it would be probably pretty cool. But,
and voice acted.
Voice acted too. Yes.
Everyone really hates Final Fantasy IV DS for the voice acting because it's like too
the voice acting is really not good.
I loved it.
And
you would.
Yeah.
Just because it was so hammy and it's like so obviously Kane is evil with his voice and Cecil was always so righteous and stuff. It's just so terrible. But it's so good.
The thing is that if they did it, I would buy that, but I would be so nervous about what they would do to 6. I was so nervous about what they would do to 6.
They would not capture Kefka at all.
No, there's a lot.
know.
I feel like that's the one that they haven't done because they're like, we can't, I don't know how we can do it and pull it off. Like, so many people would be upset by it, I think.
Because you'd realize that Kefka is a fucking stupid-ass, ridiculous character.
No.
And not as awesome as Epic and oh my god, as everybody makes him out to be. He's just a fucking clown.
No. Come on now.
I was
He's
more
so salty.
I was more annoyed with Kefka the first time I saw him than I was with Seymour at the end of the game.
What's your point? What, that Sephiroth was a better main villain?
Just that Kefka does not live up to his whole hype thing. And the biggest argument that I ever hear is, well, his plans actually came to fruition. He actually won. So what?
What do you mean, so what? He actually destroys the world. And you have to kind of like help mend that.
Okay, so
that's a far more compelling plot point than there's this meteor coming.
All right, for the story,
I brought a meteor. Got a meteor coming.
See, what you're talking about right now is
look at it. Look how much bigger
that meteor.
Yeah, look at how much bigger that meteor is.
I have a point. That's why they're just being idiots right now.
Look at how big that meteor is.
That does nothing for Kefka's character and does everything for the story and the plot.
Wait, say that again?
The whole he destroyed the world and you have to mend it?
Yeah.
That says nothing for his character, but says more for the plot and the storyline. Meteor has nothing to do with Sephiroth as a character for his personality. If you were to go back into that game and mod it so that Pee Wee fucking Herman was the sprite, suddenly is he going to be this big, epic, awesome boss because he destroyed the world?
Sorry, there's only a limited amount that you can pull off a character's personality when you go back to games that old. I mean, the thing is that we have more about Sephiroth's personality because we have things like Advent Children and we have things like Kingdom Hearts to be able to draw off of those.
Yet you sit here and talk about how much of a masterpiece and how integral a fucking 8-bit version of Metal Gear Solid is to the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But there's only limited technology.
No, what I'm saying is that Kefka doesn't have as many iterations out there as Sephiroth does, and so there's a far more limited interpretation of his character that people have. Now, if you give more for people to interpret, like voice acting and characterization, then there's going to be that's going to take that definition, going to make it smaller, finer. That's what happened with Sephiroth. That's why no one likes Sephiroth. That's why everyone hates Sephiroth and thinks he's a shitty, terrible villain is because all of the things that he was in after FF7 had ruined his character. He would have, for just killing Aerith alone, he may have been better than Kefka. But the fact is that they shit all over him for the rest of everything else that they put him in, and that doesn't happen with Kefka. We get a little bit more characterization with Kefka in Dissidia, and that's it. That's all we know. That's like all the characterization that anyone has to work with. And I'll grant you this, most people ignore the Kefka version of Dissidia because it's really not that good. So yeah, I think that's why you get that perception among the players, but I actually think that Kefka was a really good villain, and that his characterization was really strong. He did legitimately psychotic things that other villains don't. I think
maybe it's because you guys hyped him up. Because I went all through college of whenever Final Fantasy would come up, you guys would always go to FF6 and how great Kefka was, and then the first time you see him in the game, I'm just like, really?
You played it way later.
That's the one. That's the guy
you played it.
He's one of those PS kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't even appreciate sprites
Yeah.
and that laugh.
Yeah, exactly. That
The laugh.
The laugh. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's take a look at this final email here from.
We have 2 emails left, don't we?
Cade. No, we got Squish Daddies in there. We were good. So, dear FEC, I was listening to your 2 podcasts about MGS5, and it really drove home the feeling I've had since learning of Mission 51, that the game is not a phantom pain.
It is a
that the game is a phantom pain, regardless of how it was, regardless of if it was intentional on Kojima's part or not. Listening to you guys destructing the game is a microcosm of what the entire community has been going through. If it wasn't intentional, it makes even more of an artistic masterpiece, in my opinion. Since it's not since not only is it our phantom pain, but Hideo's as well. His game can never be complete. He knows his vision. He knows what it was supposed to be, but Konami took it all away. He shared his vision with us by putting what should have been there, and he knows should be there, but it isn't. Kojima is Kaz, who not only lost what we lost in ARM, but also lost his vision. We are Snake, who lost our arm and looking to Kaz to guide us. Konami is XOF, the evil fucks that short-sightedly destroyed something great, and Ocelot is the translation team, inconsistent and sometimes disappointing. Good luck on your podcast, Cade Eris of Gilgamesh. Thank you so much. Oh, we do have one.
We do.
I didn't see that.
Go ahead and respond to this because I think that's pretty cool. That whole little metaphor there.
I think that the lengths that people have gone to try to justify the way that game ended and put I do think that, again, if in December when Kojima can talk about it, if we start hearing things like that was the intention to be able to drive home an artistic point, a greater theme about a phantom pain, I do think that would be legitimate, and I do think that would have artistic merit, and I would feel as if I got played into that, and that's great. I think that's
and you
fantastic.
Would call up Luke and apologize.
Yeah, I'd probably that'd probably be more than an apology. But again, we don't know. But I think when we start to find out that this is going to be one of the more important stories told in gaming, because I do think that there is something at work that we don't totally understand, and we don't totally have all the context for, and that it's going to take Hideo Kojima himself to be able to provide context for. But what's really interesting to me is, where is he going to go from here? What's his next step? He's leaving Konami. Is he going to continue in the games industry? And if he does, where does he go from here? There's going to be a huge bidding war to get this guy's talent on their roster. Where does he go?
Here's what I'm hoping. With the prevalence that these huge universes are now playing in Hollywood and in the media, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with Star Wars, with what their Universal's trying to do with their fucking monster fucking rights and stuff, and him wanting to do movies, especially with Guillermo del Toro, I think it would be cool to put him in charge of a project like that and to see that unfold over the next 10 or 15 years.
I definitely think that could be possible. But I mean, if he does stay connected to the game industry, there is going to be a fantastic bidding war. I don't see him jumping ship to indie and going.
No. And I think one of the things one of the things that we said too was he's like one of the last great dons of gaming.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool. He is like kind of like one of the last people to carry that kind of clout. And I mean, Hironobu Sakaguchi at the time that he had left Square Enix did not carry that kind of name brand clout. So when he went to go start Mistwalker Studios, he was building something very, very much from the ground up. Kojima had built a studio inside of Konami in Japan. He's got a whole lot of talent out there, and I think the other thing that you got to consider is that when he goes, how much of his team is he going to take with him? I mean, Konami's sitting on their hands saying, "Oh well, we've got people who will be able to continue to make Metal Gear games." Do you really? Because if you're sincerely losing Kojima, then I think it's not going to be the only person to walk. It's not just going to be Kojima and the rest of the team stays in Konami. He's going to take your top talent with you.
Mass exodus.
Yeah, there is going to be a talent exodus at Konami, which is fine because they want to make pachinko games anyway. And it's sad though, but it is going to be really interesting to see where he goes and to see what he ends up making next, because it can't be a Metal Gear game, so he's got to be thinking of something amazing and new. And based on his work with PT, dude, I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be fucking phenomenal. All right, let's take this final
Last
email. Yes.
Hello, Final Encounter Cast. With Kahlo's love for space games, and that's me, I'm Robbie, I'm curious to hear his opinion of Star Citizen. That comes from Jester Fox. And actually, I have heard very little about Star Citizen just recently. It's a huge Kickstarter game. I guess it's garnered some of the most money for an independent game or something that any has or something.
I had someone talk to me about this at YomaCon, and he was super psyched about it.
Yes. So I actually just looked up...
and I was very drunk, so I don't remember.
Yeah. I do remember you being very interested in it, though. But while you were going on about some stuff, I was looking up, and obviously I couldn't do a lot on my phone, but I watched a video, and it seemed like it was just a lot of cinematics, so I don't know if that was actual gameplay or not, but it's essentially a space sim, which is all good and cool. Since XCOM, I have actually been looking around, and if anybody out there hears this and you know of a game that might fit this profile I'm about to get you, please email us at finalencountercast@gmail.com and let me know. But I am looking for a game, and nothing specific, just this idea of a game that I have that, yes, is set in space, that has a sim-like element to it, where you have your civilization on your planet, you build your star fleet or whatever, and you go out into the universe and you can run into other civilizations and conquer them and battle them, right? I know that they have those. I know I could track down a bunch of those, but I'm also looking for one that has a multiplayer aspect to it that allows you to do that with another friend in more than just like a per match basis. Like, all right, me and Chris, let's sit down, let's play a game, and within 3 hours we finish the game because we've killed each other and everything else, or blah 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 blah, whatever.
Right.
That can basically think of how like Risk plays, right, and how that can span out over like days and days and days and days. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
I want something like that. Now, maybe that's what this Star Citizen is. Again, I couldn't look at a lot of it. It looked beautiful, though, right? It looked really, really great, and obviously has a lot of backing and stuff. So it could be something that catches my interest. But, I'm looking for something that has a lot of micromanaging, that's multiplayer on a large scale to where, you get to go out and conquer the universe, be it through diplomacy, be it through just total annihilation, and you have the option of working with other players or other people to do that.
Right.
I don't know if that type of thing exists out there or not, but I want it.
Okay. All right.
Mega games. Is that what they're called?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I think that's the thing that kind of planted the seed. Is he showed me a video of this thing called a mega game, and
it's
basically
got like 80 people playing. Like you have like a team of like 3 or 4, and they're Japan. And then you have like a team of like 8 people who are like the collective of America.
Yeah, so they represent all these different countries.
Interesting.
And there is a an alien attack, basically. And you as a country have to decide what you're going to do. Like, you have resources for, researching things and diploming and stuff, and you can share information with other people. And it's basically kind of like a giant tabletop D&D role-playing thing, and it's really, really fucking fascinating.
And it spans, like I said, like 80 people, and it's, like, really sweet.
Yeah. Okay. And in that particular one, it was really, really cool how close they came to nuking the aliens, because America had met them and was talking with them. So and
everyone's like, holy shit,
wanted to nuke them.
America is in league with the fucking aliens.
Everybody wanted to fucking nuke them, and they ended up not doing it and just talked to America, and it turns out that the fucking aliens were here in peace. And literally the entire fucking world almost nuked them.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting.
Mega games. Look it up.
Really big in Europe, apparently.
So there you go. Some thoughts about, not specifically Star Citizen, but yeah.
So we don't answer your email, but enjoy.
Anyway, I don't have enough information to really, talk on the Star Citizen thing, but I'll be sure to check it out.
From what I've gathered, I think it's like some kind of like space MMO that's more sandbox opposed to theme park. And basically, like, you're out, like, creating a world and living in the galaxy. And
right. Okay. All right. Interesting.
That's the best I got.
I wish we had a little bit more. Probably should have pre-read that email. I don't know. So before we get out of here, do we want to talk about our new intern that we might be getting?
Is that a thing yet?
Let's not promise anything.
No.
We're looking to get an intern, though.
Yeah, yes. we are looking into the possibility of getting an intern to help manage the show while we're on the air, and bring in some. I don't know. We just need
fresh
someone
blood.
to abuse, basically.
Yeah.
We need
someone to give us fresh blood.
Yeah. Literally fresh blood.
Yeah, literally.
I want to lick blood.
So we are on the lookout for a new intern. We might be introducing that. In the next couple of shows. A new voice, a new character for the show. So be on the lookout for that. So I was curious if we had anything to say. I knew it was at the top of the outline today, but
nothing to report. Maybe we should like post like a Craigslist ad for an intern.
Wow.
That's bad. I don't want to go through that process.
And that'd be a fun train wreck, though.
Can we be done now? After that, can we just be done?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. Anyway, thank you for joining us today for Final Encountercast. It's been an exciting show. We'll be back in the month of December to talk about all of your pre-Xmas video game needs. Who else know? Who knows what kind of nonsense is going to go down between now and December? But we'll be back in December. But of course, also streaming all the time here on Twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. We definitely want to start getting a little bit better about that. And streaming again, Robbie looking to stream Fallout 4. I'll be streaming some Metal Gear Solid whenever there was one email that asked if we were going to do a Let's Play. Yeah, I do want to do a full playthrough of Metal Gear Solid on the stream at some point. So that's definitely going to be something that happens. So again, thank you guys for checking out the show at Twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. It's been an exciting episode. I want to thank Callie for producing the majority of this show, as well as Nika, who unfortunately couldn't be here to join us today. That's going to do it here.
I produced the Fallout section.
Well, good for you. That's going to do it here for Final Encountercast. I want to thank everyone for joining us live on Twitch TV. Hit that follow button. Come back all the time and check out our website at finalencountercast.com. That's it. See you guys next time. Have a good one.